Starting out with the new campaign, all of your characters are currently on the planet known as Dandara. Currently housed within the Kingdom of Mol, you are living through a relative term of peace between the kingdoms. Though there are still bandits and skirmishes to be found, most kingdoms are amicable with one another. There have been no technological breakthroughs as of yet, the world relying more on magic, mortal strength, as well as elementals and golems. Dragons are an uncommon sight, a handful being known to the world, but most keep to themselves within their own domains. Kingdoms let the dragons do as they wish, even taking up land for themselves. Karthurrah shows himself more than the other dragons, so a few more people know of his existence. And for your characters, you are all living within the small village of Hattahwood. It has been the protected area of Karthurrah for over 150 years. While some of the villagers have lived that long, there are many who have grown into the village having known this for their entire lives. Either coming from far away or being brought up here, you have found yourselves being requested on the night before this day. The elder of the village, known as Dowfit's Great Flint, has said that the dragon has asked for a adventuring party to be sent out. The dragon often does make requests. Normally, you grant them every week or so. It is very, very rare that anyone ever declines what he asks, as Karthurrah is mostly deified by your village, though it is down to your own characters if you do the same or just have respect for him. In return, the dragon protects the village as well as a vast area around it, either killing or making bandits flee at the sight of him, creating large constructions, and even carving into the ground to make rivers for you. He doesn't fly too far from his domain, though he has done on occasion. Since he has asked for an adventuring party, you may be filled with the thoughts of what it could be and why they can't do it themselves. But you're not exactly on the fence about thinking it's a lazy thing or anything on that sort. If anything, you would be honored to do their bidding, or just to have a task from a dragon being a grand quest for anyone to undertake. And as we move ourselves into the village of Hattahwood, you can see that there are grand stone walls surrounding it on all sides. With an exit to the southwest and one to the north, the walls' battlements are manned by several archers, one on each wing of the walls themselves. In the interior of the walls are several houses, mostly being used as crafter workstations. The local smithy, leatherworker, and the like, selling their wares to passerbys to make a living. Outside of normal trade, a lot of the craft people here normally make things for the dragon as gifts or as a request by the dragon themselves. You can see that there is a large church on the northeastern edge, and whilst the village does deify the dragon, they also allow the following of other deities. The only thing that they don't really allow is people to speak bad about the dragon or to say it doesn't exist, etc., etc. It's not exactly a zealous religion, but they do find it highly offensive if you don't be nice about their dragon protector. And as stated, last night you were all approached individually by the Elder, saying that you were the best pick for a adventuring party that the dragon had asked for. And either after a night of drinking or anticipation and not being able to sleep, you all meet yourselves towards the flank of the church, knowing that you are going to meet the Elder towards the southern exit today. As we will go through a brief description of the characters, as we will start with G's.
Jasenka Vierach is a tall woman, even for a Ronso, but unlike most Ronso who look like lion, she bears resemblance to a snow leopard with her pale grey and white fur and black markings. She's donned in blue shaded robes that follow her religion and loyalty towards Shiva, and visible for that is also the necklace that she wears, which is a crystalline snowflake. On her hip is a sheathed longsword, and she also carries a backpack, both ready to go out there and explore.
Does Drazenka have any outwards relationship with the dragon? Do they hate them? Do they revere them?
Jasenka respects Karthurrah greatly. She is not from Hattahwood. She came to the village about, 7 years ago. And I don't think she's met the dragon herself personally, at least not often, but she's heard enough and she's seen enough, witnessed enough to know that everyone else here respects him, and she carries that same respect. Doesn't necessarily deify him, but definitely respects him.
It'll be down to how you've envisioned your character if you would have met them face to face. But even if you haven't, you would have seen him flying in the skies at points. All right. We'll go on to Jack B's character.
Edwin Smithson is a Hume. Fair of stature, not particularly tall or broad, more lean and angular. He has short brown hair to keep it out of his eyes while reading and working, and slightly tanned skin, but much paler than many of the other people in the village for spending so much time inside. Brown eyes peek over a hooked nose, and he typically wears dark leathers and boots to keep his work, the things that happen during his work a little bit more, but less visible. And he seems to have constant bags under his eyes, either from lack of sleep or simply reading too late into the evening and having to get up.
And does Edwin have any outward relationship with the dragon?
Edwin has not met the dragon per se. He's been around when it's landed and spoke to other people, but he's had no particular relation to it as yet. So there's a fair level of, I would say yes, anxiety at the thought of going into its presence for the first time.
And Entro, what about your character?
Wyrm is fairly tall for his race. He's about 5'6". He's rather willowy and lanky rather than having any muscle bulk. His fur overall is chestnut color. He has a white patch on his left arm. He keeps his fur well maintained. It's lustrous and soft. His eyes are a bright yellow color, and his teeth tend to be white and polished. He takes good care of himself in all of the hygiene areas. He's easy to get along with, but often lacks focus. And he is currently wearing a yellow and red vest with some, I believe, blue, not like the silk type, not actually made of silk, but like the silken kind of cotton pants, and no boots or anything like that.
When you say polished teeth, do you just mean that they are very reflective, or do you actually use polish on them?
Like he takes the time to clean them, and they're not stained or dirty or anything like that.
Okay. What outward relation does he have with the dragon?
Very reverent. He was essentially saved by the dragon at some point, so he not quite deifies, but definitely reveres and would absolutely uphold their word if given a chance and opportunity.
All right, and then finally, Jaster's character.
Al von Dry is a small grier with quite a fiery temper and insatiability love for battle. She looks different to the most of the griers, noticeably with the yellow horn, wings, and tails that are growing out of the humanoid body. She struggles to form words together but can maintain simple conversations. Kind of struggles with the more complex ones. She wields a large great axe, which looks a lot heavier than her, but she can still wield it with quite deadly precision. Her true power, though, lies in her ability to transform into a dragon on her command, which she's learned through years of practice and training. She remains fiercely loyal to those who can trust, but will stop at nothing to protect her allies and achieve her goals. And has an insane amount of HP. Her relationship with the dragon, though, is, again, a much respected one. They probably haven't had any conversations, I would have thought, maybe. But Al will quite often gaze in awe at the dragon whenever he flies above. Probably will try and fly after him every now and again, but fail massively.
All right. Those said characters will be meeting here, just on the flank of the church. It's up to you if you would have been drinking the night before, getting an early rest, or staying up with excitement. But you all arrive on time.
Did we know that we all would have been chosen for this, or because we were approached individually?
Dowfit would have said he was picking other people. You would have had an inclination of who it would be, but he didn't say specifically.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasant surprise.
Al will start looking around, saying, "Ah, a lovely surprise. Why are you here, Zirazan?" I probably butchered the name.
You did. Probably the same reason that you are.
Couldn't have chosen anyone, maybe a little bit stronger.
Well, if they could have, they wouldn't have chosen you.
Don't know about that. Looking from the size of our arms, and she'll stand right next to a very much larger human.
How tall is Al?
3'5".
Oh yeah, Zarin is much taller than you. We're like 2 feet.
Yeah, you ain't got the same strength though, have ya? I can still probably lift you off the ground.
Well, if you lift me off the ground, I'll just poke your eyes out.
No,
Children.
no, friends.
Please. Edward's sort of rubbing his eyes in the back of his head. It's too early for this.
Have you had your coffee yet?
Which one?
He looks at the sun. Third?
No, only 2. Getting out here made me have to leave the other one. Well, it's the 3 of you.
I mean, they could have chose a worse party. It's a pretty good one if you call me. At least I'm going to learn someone else's name.
Sorry, my bars are different.
Duplicated! He's larger!
Yeah, down. Alright, do it for next time. Well, let's not keep our protector waiting.
No,
Although
absolutely no. I want to see him.
Although I do believe, and he's going to go back to like an anatomy book and go to the very back page, and I'll say, "Aren't you two tied?"
No.
Are you two what?
Tied, scoreboard-wise.
No way. I'm winning.
No.
Barely, as if 2 points is that big of a difference. I can overcome that today.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Too much winning over here.
Well, it does say in here, and he'll sort of look at the bottom. I believe the first person to make it to the point we meet the dragon at does get 2 points.
You'll see Al go into like a running position start and bolt off, not actually knowing where she's going. She's just bolting off the city gate.
Well, before we go towards the protector, shouldn't we meet up with Darfit?
We should, yes. I was just wondering if that would work.
She'll stop in her tracks. Where am I going?
We
This
are
way.
meeting with the Elder first.
Where's that?
Down this way, dear.
180-degree turn. We'll sprint back the other way.
Said your prayers today.
Can you repeat that?
Have you said your prayers today?
Obviously. Start with them every morning.
Do you ever get an answer back?
As you pass the well, the manor it will wave and say good morning.
Morning! Bye!
Yes.
In a rush!
Was it morning?
Hello, sir.
Is that my dad? I can't tell from here.
No, your dad's at the smith.
Ah, yeah.
Your smith dad is at the smith.
Edward will sort of wave a hand, but he's sort of reading and walking. So he's kind of bumping into stuff every so often.
It isn't about getting a reply, it is about having someone who listens.
So, Entra, I'll let you roll a d2. If it's a 1, I won the race. She's visibly out of breath. You have longer legs!
And a better starting position.
Oh, I was already gassed. I was going the wrong way.
Now, don't be a sore loser.
60 to 61.
Still winning. Oh, I need to catch my breath.
Dalfit will move his staff around in the floor as he looks between you. Good morning to you all. It looks like you're all well rested if you're already out and about and sprinting. As I informed you of last night, Karthurrah, our protector wyrm, has requested we send him a group of able-bodied adventurers to take on a task for him. This is a prestigious honor, one I hope you do not take lightly. He has not told me of the finer details, only that you are proficient in combat and traversal. I hope I picked well. He then moves into the bag at his side and holds out 4 rectangular icons. I have prepared a set of rations for you, as well as a small map of his location, although it is rather easy to find for our villagers. I ask you to burn the map after you're done with it.
Sure, I can probably remember that. Maybe.
Of course, honored elder.
If you are needing any assistance for the day ahead, speak with the seer if you want. I have requested that they grant you their services for free. The smithy, he says as he looks at Edwin, may also have some spare daggers if you need of them too. I know this was a sudden request.
That means I get to go and finish that drink.
Oh, I just realized I forgot my backpack.
I truly
less
hope I
weight as
picked
well.
properly.
What was that? Sorry, name. I didn't quite catch that.
Dalfit is just concerned if he picked the right people.
Worry not, honored elder. It'll be fine. You know as I do that there isn't a swifter sword arm around for quite a while. Like, we can deal with the remembering part, can't we? And I'll look over it. look over at Draz.
I'm sure we will be quite fine.
If you're able, and also remembering, return to Hattahwood, and we may be able to provide chocobos and a carriage for you all if it is necessary.
Many thanks. Well, see ya, Smithy, and return to yourselves for... Just to clarify, sorry, Elder, the carriage, that I take it that will ask for that if we need it following the dragon's request, yes?
Yes, it would be nice to keep all of our birds and vehicles here, but if the dragon requests you to go so far, we will give them up willingly.
Thanks. That's it, just thanks. And I'll start heading towards the smithy.
Don't want to head to the seer first? I thought I was the one remembering stuff.
It's not a task list. Have you been taking those pills?
Yes, every morning.
Good.
Did you have any specific time limits for this task, Elder?
The dragon is not too hasty about you going to see him before the day's end. It is only a 10-minute walk, so it shouldn't take you too long.
Understand. Thank you. And have a good day.
And to you, Jazenka.
We'll wait for Drazenka to catch up and then go and see
Should
the
catch
seer.
up fast enough.
It's not so much wait, it's more like we walk and you just appear.
Good day. I take it you're the adventuring lot that the Elder told me to prepare for. I was expecting short and tall, and I've got those here.
Hey, who are you calling short?
You.
What? Why you? And she's gonna like walk up with her fist raised. You trying to pick a fight? Yeah.
Jessica just walks up and just puts her hand on her shoulder.
You're lucky that people are around.
I can see your people skills have been improving.
I see someone does not want my services. How about the other three?
I apologize for her. We are indeed the adventurers that you were told about.
Well, if you are to go see our protector dragon, I'm able to give you a slight view into the steps ahead, and make sure you're better of the mind for what is coming. However, each person can only be given a specific part of their future. Too much and things change, and you're not able to alter your course to affect it. You can have a choice. You can all choose the same thing or choose different things amongst you. But for today, the courts call upon danger, sight, fleet, or heart.
Edwin will wait for the others to make their choices.
But you've already put into the chat what you're picking.
Yeah, so I just so I can't change it.
Remind me what the benefits of them are again.
You don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's gonna go danger.
I will take 10 fleet.
Alright, I shall whisper you each what those do. Do not tell the others.
What if you really wanna?
Nobody look at the stream. That's cheating. Discord message me.
Cool.
And then I shall message you on Discord, Chester. There you go.
Ooh. Okay.
As you ask for the specific parts of your near future, the seer will speak to you about the coming steps ahead. They mention specific trees, as well as specific winds, where you need to stand to be it down or up, and where to put your foot to not fall over.
Was that to everyone?
Yes.
Yep.
Just know this is for the near future. Tomorrow will be a different day and a different thread of life.
I'll just give a nod and a bow.
Thank you, kind seer.
Thank you.
And
That
I'll
should
be
be quite useful.
And I shall be thanking you if you are able to appease the dragon.
We will do our best.
Well, I'm gonna go back to my house and go pick up my belongings. I completely just walked right past them this morning.
Of course.
As you walk past the house, you see another Karthurrah outside with a rucksack at his sides and his arms crossed. I knew you'd be coming back. You forget something? He says as he kicks the bag.
I not quite forgot it. I just walked right past it this morning. I didn't even see it.
Wasn't exactly hidden under leaves.
Sorry, Pa.
You'll just be thankful that the Great Worm is, willing to accept tardiness. But I'm not. He then picks up the bag and, pushes it into Zirin's chest.
Thank you, Pa.
Now remember, keep your manners, and, clean your feet before you go inside the cave.
Yes, Pa.
Zierat will then wave to the others at the back.
Edwin will just give him a
Thank-
nod.
Good morning, sir.
It is a grand old morning whenever we get word from the dragon.
It is indeed.
May the days fare you well.
Thanks, Pa. We'll see you later today, I'm sure.
Got everything, Zirin?
I think so.
As you walk past the northern exit, you'll see that there are two beggars on each side of the portcullis gate. They are sitting with their backs into the corners as they hold out their hands.
Sorry, go on without me. I'll come over to the beggars.
Need a hand with anything?
I don't know yet.
I'll stick around then.
Spare a gross, sir.
Of course, if you let me look at that lesion, he'll pull out. In fact, yeah, he'll pull out 2 gilt pieces, 1 for each person.
Their eyes go wide at the gil that is
Gil.
worth 100 times what they asked for.
He'll pass one to both of you. What are you two doing here?
1,000 thanks upon you, sir. We're just traveling from west. Bandits on the road taking everything we had. It was just enough we got inside the city limits.
Bandits?
Bandits? Where? I'll sort them out.
Hold on. Are you hurt? Did they take... Oh, they evidently took something from you, but are you hurt?
Mostly just winded and sore legs, as well as our pride, but they'll recover.
Do you mind if I just have a look at the two of you? I'm a medical professional. Well, a training one.
I'm a doctor. Just don't look at this L sign.
I'm like a junior
roll me
doctor, underpaid
diplomacy.
and underslept. Diplomacy.
Roll me diplomacy.
Aye. Okay. Not great, not terrible.
The men pull on the rags around them as if to cover themselves a bit more. No medical attention necessary, sir. This skill will see us good onto our feet.
Fine.
Zarin will step forward, and he no longer looks quite so thoughtless. His eyes are quite clear, and he's hyper focused right now on what's going on. And he'll speak to the gentleman. No, you need to see the doctor.
The way you said that was kind of intimidating, but roll diplomacy.
Oh, hey, it's Mr. Six Claws
I
Missing.
rolled a 3.
Odd.
I suppose we better be safe than sorry. Yeah. They then kind of like let go of the cloaks around them and let Edwin look at them.
Alright. Ed will look them over. There's definitely a coldness to his gaze as he looks over them, not in a sense of malice, but this is work now.
Roll me a heal check.
There you
go. You can see that they are both definitely haggard from running further than they should have done, as well as a few grazes across their sides. It's almost as if they were glancing shot with arrows. And the final thing you'll notice that they are malnourished.
Stay here. Edwin will get up. Make sure those are wrapped up. In fact, no, I'll probably can I just take a use of my healer's kit out to wrap up their wounds?
Yeah, I'll say you only need one for both.
Cool. I'll do that and just say, get yourself some food, rest, and then I'll quite literally turn away from them and talk to the party. How are there bandits on the Western Road?
I'll sort them out.
I wonder if that's why the dragon is calling for us. Not something he needs to take care of himself, something that simple problem that we can do.
Or perhaps it's a small enough group to evade the dragon's gaze.
Or not. Anyway, apologies. And we'll just head back off.
You'll know also just for knowing the local area. If they're talking out west, Karthurrah's reign goes up to about 80 miles away from the village.
So they would have been within the area, right?
These two beggars, you don't know. They just said west.
You said 8-0, or was that
8-0.
Okay.
If you need any further assistance or supplies, you can head towards the church. And Rasenk will point towards the building. They will be able to help to sort you out.
That'll be our next point of call. Thank you, lady.
Don't mention it.
as the party moves away from the beggars on the streets, you'll find that even if it's not the dragon looking upon you with kind eyes, maybe it's even Shiva, as everyone will get a hero point.
Thank you.
As far as I know, everyone is still a hero. No one's an anti-hero.
Already,
Nope.
I have a get out of death card. I like it.
Says the one with 17 health. You expecting to get
I was
there?
going to say,
I don't
what?
know. I don't know.
I'm going insane. Where's the
17 health, but what, like an 11 AC?
13.
To you.
It'd be
To
11 when
you.
you're in dragon form, I think. Oh no, it'd be 14 because you get
no, it'd be
4
14,
natural
so I
armor?
get 1 extra.
Yeah. As you make your way to the smithy, you can hear hammer hitting anvil as Didus? How would you pronounce your love's name?
Didus.
As Didus is working on a pair of tongs with some tongs.
I'm sure there's a funny joke for this, but it evades me. Good morning, Father.
Nice to see you were able to get some sleep, though from those bags, not more than usual. How can I help you?
Old Dowerfit. Is it Dowerfit? Is that how you pronounce it?
Dowafit, yeah.
Dowerfit. Old Dowerfit's asked us to go and see the Great Worm. He's asked to come over and see if you've got any spare steel around, and to be honest, I need to go and pick up the crossbow.
Ah, yes, of course. Had some, orders that were cancelled, annoyingly, but hey, the goodness goes elsewhere. Here's what I've got for you. Didus then goes into a box nearby and pulls out 4 daggers that have been tied around in twine and puts them onto a table next to you.
Edwin will just look back at the party. Does anyone need these at all? Well, I suppose we can all have one.
Does it hurt to carry one?
BRB 2 sec, sorry.
An extra blade is always useful.
Indeed.
If you're traveling far and wide, they're also indispensable if you need to be gutting creatures or cutting off spines and arrows.
And just as a eating utensil.
You didn't pack a mess kit?
Maybe?
He then fumbles around in the box next to him as you hear plenty of jingling and jangling. Use these, he says as he hands out a fork and a knife for eating purposes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Didus.
With those teeth of yours, I would be thanking any sort of dentist that you'd use these instead.
And back.
I take it that's all Dowerfit was promising. I don't have much in the reserves for combat.
No, just see if we had any spare steel. Thank you.
Hopefully the daggers serve you well, and if not, there'll be backups.
Can't hurt to carry a bit more steel, eh? Besides, I can use these for precision cuts if I need to. Thank you, Father.
It is better to over-prepare than under-prepare. Thank you.
Say hello to Mother for me when you can. I don't know if she's in the back forge or not.
She's writing up bills and whatnot. She'll be into the forge soon enough.
Well, good day then.
And you, keep your manners when you go see the worm.
So people remind me. It's almost like I'm not charming at all.
I was mainly talking about your friends there, but sure, you two.
And we'll keep going. I'll look at Jazenka. Do you need anything from... Well, is it your house, or does Shiva own it? Remind me.
It is a house or a place for anyone who believes in her teachings. But no,
I'm
I
not
do
going
not believe I need anything, but I would like to have a word with Sister Matriona first. Before we leave.
I see. Oh, it's far away then.
I won't be long,
Day.
and she'll head towards the church.
A good day to you, child. Is today the time you set off for the wyrm?
Indeed it is, Sistra. Our group has been summoned to see the worm and what he might need.
I do not know of your friend's deific worship, but I would like to say a prayer for all of you if they would like to accept it.
I'm sure they would appreciate it. Kinda has like a joking glint in her eye when she glances back towards, especially towards Edwin.
Edwin, if he hears this, he's kind of just stone-faced as best he can.
Did you actually follow her, or are you just standing back?
He's probably like further away than the rest of them, like not a silly distance, but further, like a little bit further back than the rest of you.
I'd be willing to take a blessing.
You're
Much
not welcome
Verona.
to join, Zieren.
Matriona will hold the staff to her chest with both her hands as she speaks under her breath, as everyone will feel a slight chill, though it's not a uncomfortable feeling. You do feel as if your skin is slightly harder, as everyone will gain 1 temporary hit point for 1 hour.
Nice.
Thank you, Sistra.
You are welcome, child. I hope you are able to meet the dragon's needs and have a safe journey home and to wherever he sends you.
We shall endeavor to do our best.
Ow, you just got blessed and you get 1 temporary hit point for an hour.
Okay.
Edwin just shivers, but he doesn't quite know why.
Alright, Drazenka will return back to the party. Apologies for the wait.
It's no issue.
Is there anything else, or should we get on our way?
I think
I'm ready to go.
I think we're fine. Just to clarify, do we know if our Lord Protector speaks Common? If not, I have Draconic as part of my vocabulary, but just to check.
I'll start speaking in Draconic. So do I.
Ugh.
I should imagine so. Seeing how often he does commune with the village. But I'm not sure.
Good. Well, in that case, yes, we have a task to do, and well, we do have a certain amount of time to do it. I suggest we get it done quicker.
Let us be on our way then. Do tell me, Edwin, when was the last time you were outside these walls?
Ugh. Quite some time ago. I haven't need to go for supplies for a while. In all honesty, Therese, I haven't really been out in the sun very much recently. Let alone outside the village.
Well, maybe it'll do you some good to touch a little bit of grass.
If it starts snowing, please don't do anything weird.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
So that time last Dragonfall, when the snows were falling, he started rolling around like a cat, and I'll probably get about that far before something happens.
Nothing happens.
No? Alright. Do we know if it's north or
South.
Southgate? Southgate it is.
As you pass by any of the other villagers, they will wave and say good morning to you.
I think I would say good morning to everyone he comes across.
Yeah. Edwin will sort of wave. He might not say hello to everyone, but he's just got his mind in other places.
I feel like Zirin and Al are both just like they see each other and they're like both moving towards the gate as fast as they can.
I can see the dynamic
It's just a
evolving
fast
already.
walk, and then they're just slowly walking faster than the other person until it starts turning into a light jog.
You know, Drazenka, I didn't want to be a babysitter, but it seems like that job has appeared.
As
I've been around
Siren,
those two to know that I had an inkling that would be the case.
as Siren and Al breach the city gates, one of the guards in full plate on the left will ask Siren, "So, what's the score now?"
I've almost got it tied back up again. She's only one ahead of me at 61.
Sorry, what was that? One ahead? I heard that.
How about a way to make it a tie?
Oh?
Oh, over here.
What's up?
Got a way for you to get ahead of the game, or to let Ziran tie it up?
She'll like grip her upper arm. What is it?
I've got a little pebble here. I'm gonna throw it between my hands over my back, and whoever guesses which hand it's in gets a point.
Oh, I'm not very good at perception games.
Gamer luck. But sure, I'll do it.
The guard produces a small pebble, shows it to both of you, and starts to throw it between his hands. He rolls it across his fingers, throws it into his helmet as it drops out again, and throws it behind his back. He eventually has two closed fists in front of you.
Gonna roll a perception to get any idea.
Yes, you can.
I'm going to as well, but I also have scent.
The pebble has no scent.
Oh, so that should be on my notes for that, though.
I'll bring out her pointy finger and point towards his left hand.
At the same time, I will be pointing at the right hand.
The guard opens and rotates both hands as the pebble is in the left.
Ha ha! Back up again!
Oh, I can't pay attention to things.
Better luck next time, Zirin.
There's always next time, and I'm sure there's gonna be lots on the road for you to do.
Sure, sure. So, are we gonna take a look at the map, or has anybody been there before? I've never been.
No.
It's in the direction he flies. I've never been there though.
Well, let's have a look then. Who has the map?
Definitely.
Did anyone even take the rations on the map?
I think it was either me or Drazenko would have probably picked it up because we actually.
Yeah. I think Edward was the one talking, so I would say Edwin probably took them.
All right. He'll hand out the rations. I take it it's one each.
One
Or
each.
is it- Yeah. He'll hand out the rations and open the map.
Opening up the map, roll me a knowledge geography.
Ooh, I put points in that.
Surprising.
Well, I thought that we were going to be going around places like this. I don't have, I have a lot of knowledges with fuck all skill points, so I need to get that sorted out.
You can make this geography check untrained, by the way.
What about local?
What about the look?
It's reading a map, so it's geography.
I'll try to aid.
So you don't want to see what your own personal knowledge is.
No, I've got 0 in most of my knowledges.
How about Al? How's she thinking her geography is?
I feel like Al's knowledge of geography is if I pick up this rock and throw it really hard, it goes over there.
Jester?
Oh, we're allowed to do it untrained. Sorry.
Yeah. Al's looking at it as Edwin's holding it, but she's like on the opposite side, so she's reading upside down, and she has no idea where anything is going there. Drazenka, you can get a general grasp of the directions to take, but Edwin is pretty sure you're going to be taking the long, scenic routes that might take a whole day to do. Whereas Edwin, you're able to easily read the map, and as the Elder said, it's only going to take a 10-minute walk over there.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. 10 minutes, and then we can burn this thing and come back. I'd like to think we can remember the way back after a 10-minute walk.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, let's go then.
Why are you inside of that knight?
Oh god, I couldn't even see them.
He's wearing
Just-
full plate and you can't see him.
Just leaning towards him before that. Oh shit, that's not a pillar.
That sounds like a Zairin problem, not an Edwin problem.
Thinking about too many different things.
The party follow the directions of Edwin and the map. And are you doing anything on the 10-minute walk?
He was probably just having a think, honestly. He won't be really engaging too much unless people engage him. Keeping an eye out.
Just making a way out.
Zairin's focused on sulking from losing a little bit.
Terlenka's just keeping up a general chit chat, trying to cheer Zirin up, and in general just keeping up good mood.
Alright.
Vibes.
As the party is well known enough to each other, you all have a wonderful 10-minute jog off towards the east. Getting closer to the mountainside, you find a opened up moor in the side of it. Entering into such area, you can feel the heat within as well as the light from several statues. A heavy scent of mixed styles of coffee beans fills the area. Huge stone platforms, boulders, and columns that reach the ceiling dot the area, as the floor is a smooth sand. The tall statues with holding braziers of flames seemingly are magical in nature, as they move in weird designs and seemingly have no end. The whole underground is well lit by said braziers, as well as a few holes in the ceiling here and there. A stone staircase moves down into the sandy below, as it leads over towards another set of stone stairs onto a tall stone platform. Large amber deposits spike upwards, as there is a kind of smoothed out circular recess in the middle, inside of which you can see a slumbering dragon, though more feathered and furred than other dragons you would have come to see, this one seemingly lacking much in the way of scales. At the bottom of the staircase, you can see countless barrels and crates, as well as 2 tables set up with chairs and mugs. The area is filled to the brim of the heavy breath of the dragon as it breathes in its slumber.
Edwin will take off his weapons, dust his boots off, basically just make himself more presentable, and leave anything sort of unsightly at the doorstep effectively before going further.
Theron will wipe his claws before coming inside.
I think I will do the same.
Leave all of our gear by the door, or the cave entrance, whichever.
Oh, you've got a stick in your hair. Come here. Edwin will just take it out.
Who are you talking to?
Ow. I was just saying she had a stick in her hair.
What are you touching me for?
This. You had a stick in your head.
Maybe I'll save it for later.
Well, you can have it later, and I'll put the stick with her stuff, I guess. It sounds like a stupid question, but do we have? Is like a check we could do for appropriate manners here? Because I don't know what the. Like, is this?
No, it's nobility in that case.
Can I do it untrained?
Yeah. Just won't get as much information if you were trained.
Fair enough.
From what you can tell, the elder pretty much told you everything you need to do. Just mind what you say and clean your boots before entering. Outside of that, just don't make any real mention of something that the dragon would be doing wrong.
Understood. Come on, Zirin. Let's not leave our protector waiting.
I will brush her shoes as much as possible to try and clean them.
Does Al wear shoes?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I know Zirin said he doesn't.
That was fantastic in here.
As you step onto the sandy floor, it is brushed aside slightly as you dip about half an inch into it. Drazunka probably would liken it to snow, but thankfully, unlike snow or sand, it seemingly does not stick to your boots.
Is it hot?
It is warm, but not uncomfortably so.
Is the smell coming from the ground?
It's all around. You wouldn't really be able to know. If you go down to the ground and sniff it, I don't think you'd do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. Sure.
Is Zirin just staying at the entrance?
Oh, sorry.
As you go past some of the amber deposits, you can both hear and feel it pulsing a little.
Are these chairs like large size, or are they normal size?
No, the chairs are meant for medium creatures.
Okay.
As you get up towards the stone staircase, the dragon will stir as it opens up his eyes. It will spot you immediately and stand up. Stretching its back and moving its wings to the far it reaches, it will clamber over its resting spot. Placing talons across the amber deposits, it climbs up over and moves itself to the front. Sitting down on the large area atop the staircase, it will move its hand to the mug and drink from it. It's always nice to have a cuppa in the morning. You must be the one sent to me.
Edwin will bow his head and go back up and wait for someone else to take the lead. Because I'm a shit talker.
Doesn't Gil also take a knee for standing back up? Indeed, we are esteemed protector.
The elder told us that you had need of some aid.
Welcome to my home, denizens of Hattahwood. I see Dowerfit chose rightly, by the look of your frames and their coverings. Please, take a seat.
The dragon waves one of its talons as it motions towards the tables and chairs behind you. The nearby mugs are filled by pouring kettles above. An inviting dark liquid with a strong smell of coffee billows from them. One of the mugs is filled with black tea, however.
I'll make a point of not going to the one with tea in it.
I'll go for the tea.
If anyone drinks from the mugs, it will be the most delectable coffee or tea they've ever had. And whilst it was just instantly poured, it does not scold any of you.
Edwin looks on the verge of tears.
Zarian will drink as well, but mostly he's just smelling it, taking deep breaths.
I have called upon you, not specifically, to travel far to the north to acquire something for me. Though, the trek will be long and dangerous. Of those amongst you, Drazenka should be up to this task, as their nomadic past has tempered them in the means of traversal. Edwin, you are the most stay-at-home, though I hope your medical knowledge and the safety of your companions make up for that lack of adventure. Zieren and Au, you are both formidable fighters. I hope you will protect your company. Rivalry outstanding.
Oh, yeah, of course. Hey, shut up.
Yes, great protector.
Yeah,
If
I mean, the group needs a bit more muscle compared to this one over here.
And more delicacy than that one's capable of.
Before I detail what you must do, I wish to witness your cooperation and ability to defend yourselves. I shall create some sparring partners of rock. Feel free to finish your drinks, talk amongst yourselves, and prepare as you wish, and I shall create them when you are ready. But do not worry, they will not aim to kill.
I will slap her hands down on the table and just stand up. I'm ready.
1 minute, this is divine.
It's the best thing I've ever smelled.
Alright. Pull himself up, reluctantly. My lord, would you mind if we got our weaponry from the entrance to your cave for this trial? As we disarmed.
Zirin looks around and looks like he remembers all of a sudden that he doesn't have his weapons. He's like, oh, yeah, that's something we need to go to.
Feel free to do so. It'll be quite a uneven fight if you are unarmed.
Thanks.
I can fight without my weapon, but I guess I'll grab it just in case.
Do a little cut of us scooting back and getting them.
Not all of us have your ferocity, Al.
It's a good thing it's not a battle of wits.
Now, I know you all fairly well. Drazenka, are you going to focus on your magical ability here or your sword arm, just so we can get into a formation that's beneficial to us? I know the other two are just more slashers.
I usually tend to rely on my sword quite a bit, but depending on how we do against these rock formations, I might change it up.
I see.
I will start with this, however, and she'll cast Mage Armor herself.
Nice. Alright. I'm thinking Ow in the middle. Is it Zerian? How do you pronounce your name?
Zairin.
Zairin. Left flank. Traz, UK on the right, and I'll be at the back.
Sounds good to me.
All right,
One
Mr.
space.
Edwin.
Where's the fight happening?
Amongst the table area. Where you are is good enough.
Edwin will pull crossbow and load it.
Is your group ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Zairin straightens up again and is super focused, and his eyes are gleaming, and he's ready.
Could we... I mean, no offense, my lord, but would we be allowed to prepare actions when you summon these creatures, or is it simply a case of what seeing how we do in a straight fight?
You're able to buff yourselves, but you can't ready actions, no.
No, I was going to say, like, if I could prepare an action to shoot them as they are summoned,
No.
but that's fair.
Could I go into my dragon form right before he initiates the fight? Because obviously
Yeah.
my thing's only for rounds. Alright, Al will go into her dragon form right before the beginning of the fight.
No matter how many times I see that, I always find it fascinating.
Karthurrah will then tap a single claw from their talon on the rock bed beneath them as the sand starts to shake. 4 holes forming as 4 small creatures made of rock come up to the surface.
Wow. Okay.
That's decent.
That's spicy. I have no bonus to my initiative, so.
You're just trying to impress.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, she likes Karthurrah.
And to start would be Edwin.
Can we knowledge check these things?
You certainly can. It would be Knowledge Arcana.
Are we allowed to do it untrained?
This one, yes.
Thank you. I only have so many skill points. Roll to 6.
Nope.
Alrighty. Give me un momento. Al has no idea. However, the other three will know that these are rock grens, creatures made of rock that resemble humanoid creatures with horns.
Can we ask if they are... I don't know if this is too specific. Is there a way of asking if they are ranged or melee combatants?
You would ask for their main attack, and that would tell you.
Do you guys mind if we have that? Because then we can figure out if we need to go to them or they need to come to us.
I'm happy with that. Like I say, the traits thing can be changed around as to what fits this party.
But yeah, if we go main attack, and then I'm happy with the rest of it. I'll be honest, I don't think weakest save is going to be that important in this fight.
Well, is weakness also going to be the important thing? Can anyone do any elements?
I mean,
damage?
I do eyes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
I would like to know if that's gonna be useful.
Yeah,
And
I
you have a breath attack as well, don't you, and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I have lightning.
And I think,
These weakness and immunities could stay as they are.
yeah, I think, God, I literally just said it. I can't fucking.
Zero.
Ziren, do you have? You get elemental stuff later on, right? I think.
Elemental?
Am I thinking about a different class? Possibly.
I have not seen anything about elemental stuff. It might be like part of lunge techniques or something like that, but I have not seen them yet.
No, I might be thinking about Runic Fencer. Don't worry about it.
Alright, go with those. Give me 1 second. Alright. Their main attack is Stone, the spell. They have no weakness. They are immune to earth and poison. And they have Earth Meld, where whenever they are in earthen locations, they gain a +4 circumstance bonus and stealth.
Okay. I'll say to the party then. They're ranged. Close with them. Don't let them fire those stones at you. And I'm going to move. This doesn't prevent the ground doesn't slow movement, right?
The ground has no differences.
Cool. I'll move up to this table and prepare a shot at that one for if it casts a spell.
Alright. The tables will provide cover, as these are small creatures.
Oh, right. I didn't know they were small. Fuck. Climbing on the table, would that be a climb check?
It would be a climb check, yes. You'd know it would be a DC 5.
Part the cards. Nope. Fall off. That's me done.
You try and get up there, but thankfully you didn't roll a 0, so you don't go prone.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just prepare a shot in that case.
Alright. Drazenka.
Is this chair in my way? Or can I move just past it?
You can move through it. Yeah, you just won't be able to charge through it.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I will start by casting Saber, which is a swift action. Just use all of my MP because why not? And I will move up to this guy.
We're here to impress. You need to do it.
Yeah, just using everything. And hoping for the best, I guess. And a standard action, activate Shatter Strike. And try to hit this guy. Ouch.
Aye.
Using all of your spells at your disposal, you move up to the rock Grem, hoping to impress the dragon with your abilities, though it seems you're a bit too hasty as you kind of slide on the sand and just attack in front of the rock Grem and miss completely.
It's like doing a task when your dad's watching.
It's also, like you described, it's pretty warm in here, so Drasenka does look rather uncomfortable. She's not saying anything, but she has a very thick fur.
Ow, in dragon form.
She will charge up to this one and will attack. I need to remember to click my other one. I did. What?
Wonderful, that is.
Tested all my
Uh-oh.
macros before that. What the hell? It's just missing the double brackets at the end, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks like it's just one. That's a lot of damage. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, all the rolls are in there, so. But I mean,
With a
it
bite
probably
of
misses.
8, that would miss, yes. It would be 10, but I don't know if you have the +2 in there.
Yeah, sorry, it would be 10 because I didn't have the +2.
But with a 10, you will bite into the rock Grem, but are unable to pierce its rocky exterior. Zieran.
He's gonna run up and make a charge attack at this guy here.
Alright.
Come on, show us up.
Wait.
Moving on up, you stab out with your S-stock, piercing into the rock and having rubble come out the other side, but the rock Grem still stands.
Hey, we hit someone though. That's the important thing.
First blood.
Minimum.
Or stone.
The rock
That is
Grem.
like first blood.
First to mud, yeah.
First mud.
The rock Grem attacked by Zieran is going to 5 step back and is going to cast a spell.
Oh, I said the other one didn't I, so I can't stop that.
You can say anyone, so you could have shooting this one if you want.
If I could, because that wouldn't have cover, would it?
It's still behind the table,
It's quite far behind the table. Fair enough.
which would be even worse, maybe. But either way, it's short, and there's a table in your way.
All right. Oh yeah.
Even with the table in your way, you fire off a shot at that rock Grem as it casts a spell. As you hit the hand that was going to form the stone, as the hand smashes into its own face and it goes into rubble on the floor.
Nice.
3 down. Well, 1 down, 3 to go.
The rock Grem on the left sees what happened to its buddy. It is going to move on up. It criticals its climb check, because why not?
Beautiful.
Does Edwin have a melee weapon out?
No, I just have the crossbow at the moment. Unless I'm one-handing the crossbow, which is insane.
The rock Grem will clamber onto the table, move to the edge, and cast a spell adjacently at Edwin.
Fair enough.
as it forms a massive rock in its hand. It forces it into Edwin's face, as Edwin, you will take 4 earth damage as non-lethal.
Yep.
And you need to make a fortitude save, please.
I'm not that good at those.
And
So you're getting it.
emboldened by the previous coffee that you're able to keep the rock off of you.
I'm using the G school of tactics there. If I say I'm bad at it, it's going to work.
You just complain enough and you'll be good at it.
This rock ram's going to 5 step back. And it's going to cast a spell at Drazanka. Drazanka, what is your touch AC?
11.
It will form a mound of earth in its hands and shoot it at your chest. As you become slightly winded, you will take 1 earth non-lethal damage and need to make a fortitude save, please.
Oh, that was in a row. Let's go.
It seems the very hot interior is throwing you off, even more so, as you are surrounded in rock. And you are weighted. The rock ram up top is going to 5 step back, and it's going to fire off a spell at Owl. However, the dragon's movement was not what the creature was expecting, and it shoots up into the sky, thinking you were going to be taller, and will completely miss. As we go back to Drazanka, just as a reminder, you still have those buffs from the Seer. If you have them active or not, I don't know.
Yep.
What does weighted do?
I'm just pulling it up again. I'm pretty sure it's just half speed.
Yeah.
I guess still 5 foot step, right?
Halved cannot run or charge. You can still 5 foot step.
I mean, it doesn't matter that much. I'm gonna 5 foot step up to the little guy who shot me with rock. And I will try another Shatter Strike.
That'd be good.
Nope.
Moving on up to attack the one that weighted you. It seems the rock is weighing you down much more as you attack too slowly, and the rock ram dodges. Ow.
She will 5 foot and full attack this one.
Is it going to work?
I tell you what, before I roll it, let me just double check that macro, make sure it's got it.
Why not next
So
time
pretty sure
on
I
Dragon
copied
Girl
this.
Z?
Oh, yeah, this one works.
Oi!
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
As you 5 foot up, you've had enough of these rocky creatures. As you bite off its head and crunch it in your jaw, and only takes the bites, and that goes down.
Do you not get minuses for secondary attacks?
Not
They're
for
in
the
there.
claw attacks, for the wing attacks, yeah.
Fair enough. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That would be Ow.
And I go to Zirin.
Can he try to jump up onto that table, or does it have to be a...
You could jump. The DC would be 20.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a
Possibility.
chance, but it's so much easier to climb with a 5.
You say that.
Well, it's not quite easier, so I guess I'll try to climb up.
Believe in you. Nice.
You're able to climb up onto the table.
Alright, and I am going to wait until they're trying to make an attack or cast a spell, and I'm going to stab him.
All right. Edwin.
Has a crossbow out, so flanking isn't going to be ideal when I have 0 BAB, so I can't draw as a move action, can I? So,
Drawing is a move action, just normal. You're thinking of moving and drawing at the same time.
right, so I could draw, and then 5-foot stab. Cool.
Yes.
I'll
It
do
would just be a move action to draw normally.
that. Drop the crossbow, draw the rapier, 5-foot to here, and give a stab. Hopefully.
Step into the side with your rapier. You stab into that rock grim, piercing through its leg, though it still stands, if a bit shaky.
Alright. I'll yell to the other two just pretty quickly. Okay over there?
Absolutely fine.
One better than the other, but we're dealing.
Cool.
The rock grim between Zirin and Edwin is going to raise up its fists and slam them down onto Edwin. So Zirin, you can have your ready to attack.
I believe.
And I'm putting in a +2 for flanking.
Mm-hmm. You'll also want to get closer to that microphone or just speak louder. As you come up behind this rock grim, hoping to aid your ally, it raises up its fists as you slash into one armpit and out the other, as you segment it into a third and 2/3, as it crumples onto the floor.
And I ding Zarian's S-Talk with my rapier, like, yeah!
Sure. And the one on the far right is going to be raising its hands similarly to bash down onto Drazenka. However, the rock is protecting you as it'll hit both rocks and not you. Drazenka. You are no longer weighted. I don't think it even matters.
Not particularly. Five a step here and try one last shatter strike before I'll steal this one from me. Nope.
As much as you would really want to be taking a kill for yourself, it seems like the hot areas is not doing you too well, as people probably can notice now that you're not doing too well in here.
Too far away from my goddess.
And then it'll go to Al.
Al will charge.
This is not her domain.
This one.
And moving up
There
to
you
your
go.
sides, a smaller dragon will chomp down onto your foe as it will crumple to the floor.
Nice.
As the rocky creatures all become rubble on the floor, their earth will slowly disintegrate back into sand and become back one with the floor.
I'd want to pick up his stuff and help Zirin off the table.
I'll hop down with him.
Good stuff.
I am fatigued for 5 rounds, but I'm sure that probably doesn't matter.
You have done well against my creations. I am confident you will not be sent in vain on this journey.
My thanks. The party are capable, and we wish to do you proud.
Now that you have proven yourself, I can tell you the finer points. I require a team to head to the north, to the city of Esterilia. It is 15 days of travel on the backs of chocobos if you stick to the roads. A return trip will be at least 30 days if you are to do so. I need you to acquire a dozen Esterilian beans and a dozen seeds, so that I may cultivate them for myself and to have enough for immediate usage. It will cost 120 gil for each. I cannot say why I need these beans, as the less knowledge you have on that front, the better. To that end, I ask that you do not tell anyone of these beans, nor that I have asked for them. You may say you are heading north to Fort Mock, and that you are to see their walls. My fears of an impending attack warranting others to investigate for me. You have 90 days to procure these items for me. If you go at the speed I have stated, you have 60 days of wiggle room in your travels.
The dragon then moves one of his talons as he levitates 2 pouches to the tables.
These pouches each hold 120 gil, enough to cover the beans and the seeds. You may use them to prepare or keep them for the purchase. Also, to aid you in your journey, and as an upfront reward, I shall transmute a piece of each of your gears into adamantine. Choose each your armor, shield, or weapon.
Zayrn immediately pulls his S-stock and kneels in front of the staircase with it held out.
If you need to know what adamantine does, here's a quick handout for it.
Yeah, it gives you DR dash depending on your armor type, or just makes your weapon very good. Getting past stuff.
Also counts as masterwork, so it's just a straight +1 to attacks.
Nice. I'm wearing hide armor, so I take it that I can't really do that.
Hide has no metal, so no.
Yeah, I'll have to change that then.
You can
Doesn't.
say you have 10 of your bolts become adamantine. They will not be durable, though. Or you can have your rapier.
It's gonna be rapier, yeah.
Introducenko present her longsword.
Should have played a fucking knight if I'd known this, god damn it.
I was going to say, I don't think Al can do it for a studded leather, can she?
Studded leather, yes, because the studs of leather are metal. I shall double check that for you, but I'm pretty sure that is the case.
If that is
Usually.
the case, then she would like to do her armor.
Studded leather armor is covered with dozens of metal protuberances. What a word! But yes, you have enough metal on you that could become adamantine. Since it is light armor, it would give you DR1/dash. However, in your dragon form, it won't.
I know.
As everyone produces what they wish to be adamantine, the dragon will breathe out towards you. The breath wraps around the blades and studs as they take on a darker hue. They reflect beautifully in the light of the room, and whilst not becoming lighter in your hand, you feel the craftsmanship improve, as what you stated is now adamantine. Just as a reminder again, they do count as masterwork, so tick the MWK box on either the weapons or the armor.
Nice. I'm concerned you're giving us too much stuff.
And if you did not understand what he said, or just need a piece of text to remind you, that is the request from Karthurrah.
And he said that we can't tell anyone about it. We're supposed to be going to the fort to look at the walls, yeah?
Yes. He asked that you tell no one that he wants the beans or that you're doing it for him, And if you do need a cover story, just say you're going to Fort Mock and that you're investigating the walls there.
Okay.
With any fears that you may have that there might be an impending attack from Fort Mock.
All right. Looks like we're going to need those chocobos after all.
Great Protector, before we leave, I'd like to give you some information.
You may give me such. What is it?
This morning, on our way, getting ready to come here, we saw a couple of beggars at the north gate of the town. They said they were beset by bandits, kind of close to our town. They said out west. I don't know if you knew about that or if you felt the need to go check on that, because it would probably be within your lands. But I felt the need to let you know that had happened.
I had felt rumblings across the ground to the west, yes, but I only noticed two. It is possible they are outside of my domain or my sight, but I shall investigate nonetheless.
Thank you.
Well then.
Is there anything else you wish to inform me of or discuss?
Not at present, Great Protector, from me.
And there's just a note, he gave you 2 pouches around 20 gil each, so 240. They are meant for the beans and seeds, but he said you can use it to prepare, as long as you have money to buy the items later.
I think we keep these safe. It's going to be hard enough to find money out there. Let's get back to town then, shall we? Unless anyone has any questions.
Will not let you down.
Edwin is going to run back to his cup and drink the dregs from it if there's any left, and then go back.
Depends if you would have left some dregs, and if you finished it off, it would have been refilled by the kettles.
Beautiful, in that case he has a new one.
While Ao is seeming to be still a little bit on the outs from her transformation, Zirin is going to take off towards the cave entrance. At a run.
How's our reacting to that, Jester? Are they trying to keep up but not being able to?
Depends if 5 rounds went by during that conversation just then.
5 rounds would have gone by, yes.
Then she will get on her tiptoes and start sprinting.
Do you guys have the same speed?
I would like to point out, I was just about to say, that when I'm running, I have a +10 movement bonus.
If you have +10 movement, then the only way I could catch up to you is if I transformed. But she's not doing that.
And since Zirin seemingly had the head start, I would say he would have won that one, unless you want to be rolling dice again.
It is quite a good possibility that Zirin trips over a rock or something like that he's not paying attention to. So, if you want to roll some stuff, that'd be fine too.
You can roll a d2. 1 for Al, 2 for Zirin.
She's visibly
Al
out of breath
catches
again.
up.
She is like, I win this time.
Was that a win or was it a tie?
I'm fine for it to be a tie. I'm already 2 ahead.
Edward's probably just like walking behind, sweeping up like where the sap, like whatever this is, has been disturbed, unless it goes back on its own.
It definitely has some footprints, but it doesn't seem to matter too much.
Alright. Shame we have to leave, but orders are orders.
This time I'll pick up my backpack before we leave.
Yeah, pick up
Just leave it there as an offering.
Oh, sweet. Roll 20 just decided to die on me.
Oh boy. On the 10-minute walk back to the village, is the party doing anything?
Probably just checking over the rest of them, just making sure they're okay. At a glance, I can see that they're, people were particularly hurt in that fight, thankfully. But just checking out.
Just talking to about preparations, what we need for the trip.
Yes, we're going to need food. We're going to need a few bits and bobs, but I suggest we keep that 120
240.
separate.
It's 240 in total. They're just
Oh,
two
240,
separate pouches.
I suggest if we can, we keep that separate. See if we can get some money from odd jobs around town before we leave. Prepare that way. There's no guarantee we can get that kind of money on the road.
Who's going to be carrying the dragon's money?
I think we'll keep it in the car, but we'll have to try and get a lockbox or something. Either that, we have two strapping people here. I'm sure we'll be able to carry it.
I can carry some bits. Just stick it in the group loot, and Al's happy to be the one that carries the stuff.
I mean, Jester, you're doing the group loot this session. Or this campaign.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Well,
Also, I just realised maybe I can't actually carry as much as I thought. I'm almost at my lightweight.
You are small, so you do have a reduced carry capacity.
Not small or medium.
I thought you were small-sized.
Nope. I'm medium.
Okay. I guess nobody gets the small dagger. They're all 4 medium daggers.
Oh, is that what? Oh, did you think I was small?
I thought you were small, so you're only 3 foot.
Yeah.
just
I'm
dead.
just a very small person, but I'm not actually classified as small. I'm a medium creature.
Fair enough.
I mean, you
Why
have
that
wings and shit.
Yeah.
They take up space.
Hmm.
Dwarves are typically quite short, but they're pretty stocky, so they don't count.
Alright. Making your way back to the village, chattering as you go, you will find that nothing has changed.
Alright. Let's go and get what we need. I didn't mean to ask you all, should we set off tomorrow after having an ask round and a full night's rest, or would you want to set off today? I would say we're in no massive rush. And remember, we're going to check the fort, aren't we? We're going to look at, especially Al, probably. We're checking the fort, aren't we? That's the mission.
Yeah. You tell me where to go, I'll do it.
Good.
I'm fine with either. What time is it now?
It is 10 a.m.
I'm happy to wait till tomorrow or set off today already.
It may be worth getting some. I would know about you, but I'm hardly flush with cash. Maybe worth asking Dowerfit if he's got anything we can do, or money we can either take or earn.
I've got a bit that I can share. I've also got like a week's worth of food in my backpack. I didn't know how long we were going to be gone and whether we were going to be able to come back.
Yeah, I got a bit of food as well. At least 6 days worth.
Likewise, a little over a week on me. I also do have some gil saved up.
Evidently, you're all much better prepared than I am. I'll go and get the rest of my things then. I have backpacks, bedrolls, chalk, ink pen, jugs, that kind of thing. Shovels. Soap, in fact, I need to pick up. So how much do we have to play with here? Priority, of course, is going to be food and water.
I've got just under 100 gil.
How do you have so much money? But he's going to say that, like, just, what?
I don't have to pay for anything. I still kind of live at home with Mom and Dad. I meant to move out, but then, you know, stuff happened. And now we live here.
Well,
Perhaps this shall be the final push you need to move on your own then.
Also, armor is expensive, and I don't like feeling constrained like that.
fair enough. Well, I'm not going to tell you you have to use your personal wealth, Zerian. We'll see what we can do here, but I'd recommend picking up a few bits and bobs. Maybe... Maybe some kits. We might need a map, frankly. Things like that.
Speaking of which... I don't think I have anything to make fire with. But I will...
Oh, neither do I.
Is there like an outside fire pit anywhere? Actually, you know what? I have... my kit has a flint and steel, and I've got oil, so I will soak the map in a little bit of oil, and I will use my flint and steel to burn it.
Good remembering.
I mean, you don't really need to do it in oil because it is made of parchment, but you're able to burn up the small map.
Well, I suggest we buy what we need. I still think speaking to Dowerfit might be an idea, just to see if we can get any more supplies. Of course, we need to get the cart itself and make any preparations. I'm happy to leave today, I just think we need to make sure we're at tip condition. We know there's bandits out there.
Well, the bandits are towards the west, aren't they not?
I believe
If
they
we are
said
heading north.
You may be right, I may be misremembering it, but either way, if there's bandits out one direction, it's possible they're in another. We're going to be going into realms beyond the protection of our... I was about to say scaled. Our feathered lord.
That is very true.
So, let's get food, a map, camping supplies, unless you all want to sleep on the floor. And then anything you need specifically, I'd recommend... Oh, whatever's going to make you happy. This is going to be quite a long trip, I think. Do we know what the land is like where we're going? Is it cold? Is it, do we need to prepare anything like that?
Knowledge geography.
Oh shit, here we go. Second time in the session.
I mean, you're asking geographical information.
Right, why am I getting these now?
You'll know that it's going to get hotter the more you go north, but you're in a cold part of the world anyway. To the west is even colder because there's a much higher mountain range that ways. So you don't need to worry about cold or heat unless there is a heat wave and such going on. As for any geographical information, there is a mountain range you might need to pass through. It can be circumvented, but it is a longer trip. Outside of that, nothing that would really come to mind that ways. So if anything, you might need some climbing gear or the ability to go up a hillside.
But the cart wouldn't be able to do that, would it?
It depends on if you're able to find a road through the hills. You've not been that way.
I'll relay this information to everyone and say that, climbing gear, mountainous, survival stuff. I'm guessing it's probably going to be cold in those mountains. Would be beneficial. I'm assuming that Jazenka doesn't really care about the cold.
Not cold weather, no. And if it becomes too cold, I can offer assistance through magic.
That's good to know. So, let's buy what we need and head out, yes?
Sound good to me.
So it's 15, it's 30 days of travel minimum, so we need 120 rations if we're going to be using rations. Because it's one per day, right? So it's 4 of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me? Yes, that is a yes.
Oh, sorry, no, not 120. It'd be 160, wouldn't it? Because it's 4 of us.
4 of you for 30 would be 120. So it's 30, 60, then 60 times 2 for 120.
Yeah, no, I think I added an additional thing on for some reason. Yeah, 120 would be enough.
That's if you take a beeline and have no other things along the way.
No. Do we know if there are settlements on the way that we could stop off?
Yes, there are plenty of settlements on the way. However, you don't have a world map just yet.
Cool, that's fine.
I was gonna see if I could find somebody I could buy a map from.
Map's good. I'll go and get my belongings then. Unfortunately, I'm completely
You
out
can
of money.
easily see that Dalvit has a large sack to his side.
Ah, well, let's go and talk to him first.
Greetings, Elder.
Ah, I was not expecting you to return so soon. I take it that the conversation was short.
Yeah, it went pretty quick.
Good, good. I take it I've heard no rumblings, so you did not, annoy Karthurrah?
Not to our knowledge.
Wonderful. I wouldn't need to be sending any gifts his way anytime soon. So, whereabouts will you be heading? Is the chocobos and carrots we've already prepared going to be needed?
That'll probably be best. We're gonna be heading out for at least a month.
Quite the far distance to be going, then. Sadly, the items we were able to bundle together without any issues for ourselves does not equal that, but I'm sure you've got some spending money as well as the money we've got in this sack here.
Some of us have a little bit of money.
Well, you're welcome to spend it at the general store. They might offer up some deals, since they know you are working for the dragon. Whereabouts are you heading? I might be able to give some advice.
We're heading to the fort to check out the wall, right? What was the name of the fort again?
Was it Fort Monk, was it? Or am I going
Fort
insane?
Mock.
Mock, there is. Fort Mock.
Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention.
Well, I'd hope you'd be having one of you in the group to pay attention. If it's Fort Mock, that's quite a travel. Any advice I can give you is you might want some climbing gear if you are to pass by the Arlia mountain range.
Sounds like a plan to me.
It is a sad state, but even though we have mountains on our flank, I don't believe we have much in the way of climbing gear here. You might be better off getting that at a other settlement.
We'll have to keep that in mind.
The closest one towards the north is Lunaris. They are a bit of a stopping area, and they do have some mines. You're most likely to be able to buy some climbing gear from them.
Elder, do you happen to know where we might be able to get a map of the area? Not many of us have been very far from here, so we don't really know the area so well.
Dalfit will pat the sack next to him. We have packed some essentials in here for you. A world map is among them.
Oh, good. You've thought of a lot of stuff.
Sadly, as I say, we cannot cover all bases, nor can we, especially, not cover the distance to the fort. Along the way, you may be able to find items from people that do not have the protection of a dragon. Or, I'm sure the villagers along the way may have some business for adventures. You say you're taking a month, are you allowed time on the other side of that?
Well, the dragon said that it's about a month worth of travel there and back. It's gonna at least take that long, but we have up to 90 days.
And you'll have plenty of days and nights to be helping people in need. For item or coin? If it is to help your decision making and questions, you can have a look-see inside of this bag. The chocobos and carriage has already been set up on the northern gate for you. He slides the bag across the floor to you.
Zaire looks at it like, I'm not picking that up.
Is anyone looking what's inside the bag?
Oh, sure, yeah, we can flip it open and look inside of it.
Yeah.
Alright, if you look inside, Zieran probably could not pick it up, nor could Owl. As inside the bag, there are 4 toughening brews, on the outside of which you can see there are markings of Shiva. There is 10 lots of feed, which for 2 chocobos would equal 5 days. There are 8 rations for you lot, which would equal 2 days. There is a world map, a compass, 2 sets of flint of steel, a cooking pot, as well as a pouch of 50 gil.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah, there's no way I would be able to carry that.
We can stick it in the cart.
That's the plan. Elder, do you have any lock boxes we can use, or do we need to purchase one of those to keep some of these things safe?
In the case of any boxes, the carriage does have a box in the roof. I believe there is a lock to it, but it is more of a attachment to the vehicle.
I see. Not a problem. I'll have a look when we get there. Thank you.
We were also thinking about doing some preparations today and leaving tomorrow. Would that be okay with you, Elder? I know you said that the chocobo and the carriage are already set up. Would it be too much to have them ready tomorrow instead of today?
If you're wanting to take some rest for the rest of the day, it does seem like you've been tested a bit at the Dragon's Cave. Feel free to do so. As you say, you've got 90 days, was it?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Something like that. Well, we'll get the carriage set up, and there's a point. Is there anything you need us to do around here at all for, as you say, money or item, or is this what we have?
Nothing has come to my ears about local troubles. Most things are taken care of by Kathy. You'd find that about most people around here, unless you're wanting just a couple of gil for odd jobs.
Anything will help.
Well, it'll be down to you to talk to the village folk, see if there is something you can do for a bit of pocket money.
It would also look at the rest of them, see what they want to do.
Also, whenever Dalfit talks about the dragon, he calls him Coffee, which may annoy those who revere the dragon more than usual, but you're not really too annoyed.
Is that because he likes coffee?
No, because Coffee is a nickname for Karthurrah.
Ah,
But it's also a pun because the dragon's hoard is coffee.
alright.
And as the party decide what they're going to be doing with all of this gear, money, and what to do with the rest of the day, we shall have our break here.
Cool.
And I shall be right back. Sounds active, Jester?
Should be.
Yeah, they are. Alright, so are the party going to be doing anything in the town? Or are we going to go straight into you fellows trying to find some odd jobs to profession your way through?
Profession? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think if that's the role, then nah, we're gonna probably just.
I have a profession.
You have profession?
It-
I have.
It's just going to be a untrained check.
I have a profession.
I have one. I'm just not good at it. Okay, roll it. Let's go.
If people are doing odd jobs, roll profession.
Can I just trick people out of money?
Whoa.
Yes, I can roll for it, but
You want to be tricking people out of money.
Not really. It's just that I don't do profession well because profession is wisdom based. I could do perform. That'd be better.
You could do perform, yeah, sure.
Alright, I'll do perform. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but it's the base. It's the base roll anyways, so. Well, charming little rat man does a little rat dance.
Alright. Wanting to have a bit of rest, as well as just to generally say their farewells and prepare, the party go around town doing odd jobs, though for Edwin, he can make use of his precision skill. Drazunka has been a trained cook. Al is really the more of the odd jobs lady by carting things around town, whereas Sierra gives a final dance for the village before they go. As you take your day's worth of gil and gross, it seems like some people are being a bit more generous than others as you go off to do the dragon's bidding, as those are the coins you will bring in.
Fair enough. Every little helps. How long did it take us to do that? Is that an 8-hour thing?
Pretty much, yes.
Can we reconvene like around the benches? Or whatever that is at the front. Is that a stockade?
That is a stockade, yes.
Yeah, we'll reconvene around the stockade. Well, the hour's getting late.
It's actually the stage that Zaire was using.
Yeah, we
I don't
could
know
like the
if there's
tail
anybody
end.
actually in the stockade.
I mean,
right
no
now.
one's in the stockades right now, so you could use it there.
Perfect. I'll also dedicate my dance to Karthurrah.
Well, let's... The hour's getting late, unfortunately. We've got a little bit of extra, so I think we make our preparations, pack the cart, and head off in the morning. Sound good?
Sounds
enough
good
plan
to
for
me.
me.
Do we need to take food off while we're in this town? But
Whilst you're in town, you don't need to take rations off because you do have houses here.
Yeah, right. And the chocobos, would they just get fed at the stables for today?
They'll just get fed at the stables, they're fine.
Cool. Yeah. Dolazenka, are you fine to leave tomorrow?
I should be.
Excellent. I can't believe I'm saying this, but let's get up earlier and head off.
Indeed. Rest well, everyone.
You too. So, Al, how much did you make?
Well, at least I didn't have to dance for my money. I did something more useful.
That's not the question, and you know it.
I don't need to tell the likes of you.
I'll just count that as a point then.
The day will pass into the next, and you will no longer be getting the +1 temporary hit point if you didn't take damage from the blessing, and the seer's buff has also been removed.
Good to know. Yeah, if we all meet up, I take it there's no issues in the night.
There are no issues in the night. However, during the day, you will both hear and feel the wings and landing of Karthurrah in the village as he will talk to the beggars about the bandits.
It's good to see.
It is good to know that that is being taken care of.
Indeed.
And I wanted to take care of it.
I'm sure we'll have plenty of fights out there, Al. And I'll have to stitch you all back together. Actually, probably got to stitch them back together the way you all tend to go about your business.
Maybe.
Edwin somehow looks more tired. And yeah, we'll get on the boat. The boat?
The boat. Well, you're morphing this carriage into something it's not.
Do we need drive checks for this?
You will need drive checks, yes.
I will
Drive
volunteer
is added in FFd20.
Just checking.
Generally, you won't need to make a check. You can take 10, but it might be good to just have the better driver in the driver's seat.
Cool.
There can be 2 people in the driver's seat if someone just wants to aid, or you swap off as you go along.
I don't have the I have the skill at the moment. Is drive a armor check penalty? I don't think it is. No.
I can double check.
I don't seem to have drive available. It'd have to be added in, I believe. It was that.
Yeah, it'd be a
Dex?
missed skill.
Yeah.
Drive is Dex, yes.
How do I turn off that?
Alright, well, I've got a base +4 in it.
Yeah, it's because I have +3, so I'll go with Xenon at the front if that's alright with everyone.
Go for it.
Why is this armor check penalty me? But yeah, we'll do that. I
Oh, are you
suppose.
talking about the little boxes next to where it says the skill at?
No, that's the one that allows training. Yeah.
Like where it says like Dex, it says 0 ACP next to like.
Yeah,
acrobatic.
so for you it'll be that, but for me it's -3 because of armor. But I don't see how that would affect driving.
Are
'cause it
you
doesn't say it.
trained in your armor?
I am.
That's strange. There's probably a box you didn't click somewhere.
Very possibly. And to be fair, it's supposed to be ACP -1.
Is your load heavier than it's supposed to be?
Oh, the dagger is putting me into medium. That's fucking why. Okay.
That's it.
You do have a carriage, you could put some stuff in there.
I am. I'm probably gonna drop off. Yeah, I'll drop the knife off in the carriage for now. And just refresh the page.
Is the party going to be buying anything in Hattahwood before you leave?
I don't have the money for it.
What will we need?
We have a map. We have a
We can get
compass.
some more food for the road if we need. I'll buy it.
Could be useful. Any
I was also
kits?
bought a bit more food.
I would say anything like any kits might be useful, like either mess kits or like for specific tasks, that kind of thing.
Right.
But
The Pathfinder's kit is usually a basic kit.
Yeah.
That's 12 gil. I've already got one of those for myself.
I'm gonna load all my stuff that I can't carry into the cart, so we have a fair bit of stuff in there.
As for loot, since Jas is doing it, just make a note of how much would be in the carriage. I did put the carriage stats in the chat just after the items you were given.
If anybody would like me to buy anything, please put it in the chat. Unless somebody puts something in the chat, I won't be purchasing it.
I don't. Is there actually a lock on that box in the
On the carriage, yes. It's a
Yeah.
simple lock.
simple lock? How much is the average log? Average log is 40 gil though. We might have to hold off for now on that one, but I'll make a point of buying a better lock when we can.
I've got enough to cover it if that's what you want to do.
If you don't mind, I know this might be a very minor point, but it's also a way of people, like, trying to prevent people from stealing from us when we're not with the cart. So... yeah, 40 GP. Well, Gil.
Any food or anything like that?
Nothing on hand. We have a fair amount of rations, don't we, for a few days. Where is the nearest town in relation to where we are?
I can pull you to the world map.
Please.
The technically nearest settlement is the Beastman's village to the northwest. However, that is mostly abandoned. The Elder did mention that you could go to Linares to the northeast, and since they have a salt mine, they would have climbing gear if you wanted to get some.
That, I think, is a good idea. How... Okay. I think Larkinage might be somewhere to get some money. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Oh no, it's hired out by locals to deal with. So is that saying that village is basically where people go to hunt monsters in the area?
The village is made up of hunters and mercenaries. Those people are hired out to other people to do work for them. You could go there for work.
Okay, so we might be better off just going... I think we go to Linares. I'll say this to everyone. Linares seems like our best port of call. Maybe heading to one of the other smaller towns before we hit the mountain ranges, try and stock up on gear and supplies before then. Sound good?
Sounds
I
good.
just have a quick question. Is there a path from the Beastman village up north to the rest of the stuff, or will we have to basically come back down and back up?
The Beastman village only has a path to Hattahwood.
Alright.
And then we'll put the new lock and key on the car.
Logbox, yeah.
Who wants the key? I think we give the key to
use it.
Raz. Yeah, I think I'm going to give the key to Drazenka, if you don't mind.
I can hold on to it.
Cool.
And with the world map in your purview, do you have any changes to the path you're going to be taking, or is it going to take the straight path to the north through the mountain range?
I think we go, and correct me, guys, if you want to do something different. I think we go to Linares and then head north, but then after we go through, is it Kinky?
Kirky.
Kirky. Either way. And then maybe we go... we check these 3 villages, depending on how long it takes us to get up there. And try and get some money and gil together before we go through the mountains, yeah?
Alright.
Indeed,
And
and get a bit better lay of the land to see if it is better to go through the mountains or around them.
Agreed.
You know that if you are to go around the mountains through Deverley and Herndine, it's going to take at least an extra 100 miles.
Okay. That may be our best option, depending on what happens, we'll see. Alright, let's set out.
Alright, everyone good with their purchases and ready to go?
I think so.
So.
Because they said they don't have climbing gear, do they? So we need to go to the salt mine place.
Not in Hattahwood, no.
Cool. Is it worth us, just as a thought, is it worth us picking up a tent while we're here? I don't think anyone has one, unless one of you has one and hasn't said anything.
I picked up a kit. It might have come with a tent. Let me look. No, I just have a backpack and a bedroll, but no tent with that.
I've got a
Okay.
tent.
Is it medium or?
I'm just checking. No, it's a small tent.
Okay, so it's one person.
Alright.
So we could.
How much is
we
a
can
large tent?
A large tent is 30, which holds. It's 40 pounds and it holds up to, I think, it's 4 people.
I'll grab a large tent then, and we'll keep it with the carriage.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to. Okay, no, never mind.
You're happy to sound warped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Edwin probably looks not nervous, but curious about what's going on because he's never really left the village.
Where are we putting the stuff for what's being held in the carriage? Do we want to just put it in group load?
Group loot is probably best, yeah, because we're not carrying it.
Why do you sound as if you're using your phone, Jester?
Chloe's using a hairdryer.
Okay. Alright, is the party sticking to the road, and are you going it towards Lunaris?
Yeah, no reason not to, unless you guys have got something in mind.
Nope, nothing in particular.
Immediately take a left turn and go like all the way to Shadow Rock Hollow.
You guys head
My
north. I head
home.
towards the basement village on my own.
First time you look at a world map, it's like, oh, there it is! I can go there now. Alright. Setting off from Hattahwood, you can hear the farewells as well as see the waving of arms atop the walls and at the gate as the villagers see you off. The carriage creaks to and fro as you follow the main road. It is stone for a time until it turns into a bit of a muddy trail here and there towards the hills. However, it does go back to stone again as you get into a clearer area. It seems like Karthurrah spent some time making the roads a bit neater and safer for those in his domain. Though outside of that black area, you're unsure of how well the roads are going to be treating you. However, one thing that isn't treating someone too well, or at least the thing you can see, is everyone can have a perception roll to see how well they see this.
Not very good at those.
Better than I expected.
Yay. Everyone will be able to see this, especially since Ziran and Edwin are in the driver's seats. Off to the side of the road, you see that there is a small girl crying at the base of a tree. Her knees are scuffed and her dress is torn and dirty.
We will see that. Stop the cart.
Okay.
Zero, I'm probably going to need your bedside manner.
Yes, sir.
I'll sort of. What kind of cart is it? Is it one where they can see out the back? Like, is it covered?
It's an enclosed carriage. It has like glass windows and doors. It's like a small little room.
Okay, I'll just knock on and just explain what's going on. Although they probably saw it anyway.
What is going on? Where we stop? Oh dear.
Yes.
I would just jump out. Where's trouble?
I think that little girl's in some trouble. And I'll hop out and wait for the guys to get out and approach. Quick question. With that perception check, is there anyone else around? Is this an ambush?
With that perception check at the distance, all you can see is the girl.
Alright. Let's approach her.
Hello, little miss. Is everything alright?
The girl cries and tries to speak to you. There were small creatures. They took my dad.
They took your dad? Which way did they go?
They went into the forest, but I ran away.
You did a good job. What's your name?
Teely?
Hi, Teely. I'm Zarin, and we're gonna try to get your dad back. Can you tell us about the creatures? What they look like? Did they talk?
They were small. Long floppy ears.
Did they speak in a language that you understood, or to each other, maybe?
They were like, I don't know, roaring or something.
Alright, well, why don't you come over here next to our little carriage and sit inside and get warmed up? We're gonna see if we can find your dad.
Grab me on A.
What?
The girl just like tries to defend herself against the very forward doctor.
My doctor, show me your name.
Edwin, be
Yes.
gentle.
Is this not gentle?
You poor thing. Come here, please.
Nice.
So I think I will very carefully reach towards the little girl.
Romish
And
pharmacy.
Can I do that with my current bedside manner being positive?
Sure.
I detract that from my shitty bedside manner.
She seems to accept the monstrously tall lion. Or tiger. Leopard. Whatever animal.
big cat.
Feline.
There, sweetie. It'll be alright. And I will, don't know if it's true, but expend a calming touch towards her.
The scrapes upon her knees will disappear as she seems to stop crying as much.
Is that better, sweetie?
Yes, miss. Thank you.
No.
Come on. Where did they go? Which direction?
One moment, and I'll grab my backpack and I'll grab a blanket out of it and I'll wrap her up in it, and then I'll close the carriage so that she's not out in the cold.
One moment? What do you mean? Her dad's been taken away. He could be dead by now.
And her mom.
They could both be dead by now. We need to move.
Oh, come on. You just well be gentle.
You'll see Al just visibly annoyed and turn around. Just tapping her foot.
Edward's just holding like gauze and stuff. Just like, oh, okay.
Alright, let's go see if we can find what we're looking for.
Did you tell you what direction they went?
No. I'll go talk to her again.
I just said it out loud.
She just said into the forest.
Does anyone know how to track?
No.
I can
I
give
mean,
it
I
a
can
try.
give it a go.
Yeah, I have. Mine's not trained, unfortunately, so it's probably gonna be dog shit. There they are.
As you look around the area where the girl was, you can see her tracks, at which point you can see several more leading off into the forest.
Oh, and Josenka, I guess we'll start tracking him down.
I believe we found a trail this way.
Edwin will just load his crossbow and follow.
Alright. Following the trail, you'll eventually come to a clearing in the trees, at which point you find several stone steps leading up to a circular stone ruins. In the middle of which you can see several creatures jumping from one foot to the other, with two tied up Humes on the floor. Nobody knows what they're saying, but you can hear them say,
Tributan, Sep, Dragon, not get horde, Curran, Gil, Gems.
What are these creatures?
Al's gonna be like starting to let out a very low growl.
it would be knowledge local.
Not trained, but I have a bonus to it.
You can roll this one untrained.
Nope.
Got the Red Fury.
She is angry.
Oh, negative int gang.
Ziran and Edwin know what these are. Drazenka and Owl are apparently not familiar with creatures that aren't civilized. However, you'll know that
Never
these
seen a
are
negative
goblins,
knowledge roll.
the uncivilized kind, that they stand around 3 feet tall, are scrawny humanoid bodies with wide and gainly heads, and you can learn 4 traits.
So did I hear somebody say it's worth exchanging the Reaper's save for something else?
For now, maybe.
Just so I can edit in that code.
I'm almost tempted to use main attack in there somewhere, because I don't know about you guys, but it just helps us understand sort of how they're going to fight us. Or what do you think?
I wonder if it's worth having resistances in there, maybe.
Yeah, resistance is a bit higher, maybe, than weakness. Unless we have... Oh, I suppose if there's a weakness to ice, then it's worth having that in there. Maybe resistances instead of weakest save for now.
I'll put weakness higher. I'll put immunity second, then I'll put resistances third.
Cool. Yeah, just go with that, though.
The new traits.
Nice.
So we go over those.
Yes, please. Just while that's being done, Edwin will look at the rest of the party and just say, we might be able to talk this through, but it's likely going to get bloody.
Talk?
They have no
That's a
weakness,
reason to
immunities, or
talk.
resistances, and they have craftsmen where they're good at crafting and professoring.
Alright.
We could try talking if we can find a common language.
Maybe.
What they spoke, none of you understood.
Yeah.
Outside of any intellectual gatherings from what I did say.
Could I try to roll linguistics and try and figure out a rough idea. I did press it. Wow.
Apparently you got your tongue tied. From what you can gather from what they're saying, they're talking about some sort of tribute to a dragon, and something about their hoards, and that it would contain something, gil, and gems.
They're talking about. I'll relay this to the party.
I'll give
You
you
need to
a
get those-
moment to talk. After which, if I see no ending, I'm going in.
I'm fine with dealing with these as we normally do. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's going to be any common ground here, especially if they've hurt these people, but they're alive, which implies they don't want to kill them outright.
Great. Then I'm going straight for him.
Hold on.
See. Why are you making me hold on?
I know what you're
Let's
like.
at least try first. If they revert the dragon, we might be able to convince them to just release the prisoners.
Zidane, are you coming?
Yeah, I was just putting stuff into the compendium.
Ah, that's right.
As you get
Okay.
closer, the goblins will point and shout at you, as the three closest will hop around as they turn towards you.
What is
Then
the
what
meaning of this? Why have we taken these people captive?
Mere tribute 10 dragon. Cal, offer yourself?
If you want to appease the dragon, I'm afraid he does not take these kinds of offerings.
Dragon likes humans. Such take not gain.
What dragon are you talking about? Because the only dragon we know of doesn't take humans.
I'll het Shrinit Srefs. Trade Lantendies?
Zarin is confused.
I mean, you hear what you hear.
These lands are protected by the great Karthurrah, and he does not look favorably anyone who hurts those underneath him.
The goblins scratch their heads. They definitely look puzzled.
Stow how Cal talked in bout. Not this dragon rewards.
Can I ask Al in Draconic? Can you take your form? You may be able to frighten them off.
Words, Zazeb dragons.
Yep, I'll look at the goblins. Do you understand in Draconic?
Are you saying that to the goblins?
Yeah.
Words the dragons, not they speak.
Let those humes go. And I'll point my weapon at them.
I'll also take my sword out.
I can roll intimidate if you like.
Hume stow? Not give Tam Dragon 10 items.
As you say your words intimidatingly, a lot of it is lost in translation, and if anything, they get the inclination you want to be fierce, but they aren't exactly frightened by it, as they smash their weapons onto their heads and make their way towards you.
Try not to put them down permanently.
Oof.
God damn. 26? What?
Apparently, they're very fast goblins. Alright, and to start, this goblin at the back is turning around and making his way down town. He goes to here. Gonna check distances. He goes to there, hops around, and makes a motion with his hand as if to tell you to come towards him. This one moves up and does the same. This guy goes to the bottom of the stone steps and has his weapon raised high. You know that they are using short swords, even if their icons show axes, I think.
Okay.
This one goes up and begs you to come forward. Edwin.
I'll say in common, honestly, it's a death trap. Try to stay on the outsides and move over here and shoot the first one. Aye.
You move to the side and fire off a bolt at that fellow as it punctures into his shoulder and he screams out, but he still stands.
Alright, I'll reload as my move.
Drazenka.
I will use my action to cast Mage Armor myself. Where's the last? Just gonna circle around the move here.
Alright. This gobbo at the back is making his way through his friends. He gets to there and raises his sword up high. This one at the back is coming up to here and forms a ball of air in its fist and throws it towards Drazenka. Drazenka, you are hit in the chest as you are winded for 5 wind. And you need to make a reflex save, please. Alright, the wind makes you slide across the ground a bit, but you stay steady and on your feet. Zieran.
Let's see. He is just going to skedaddle on up to the one that Edwin already hit. Right there.
As you go up to there, the goblins will continue throwing fists at you. What's Zieren's touch?
I believe it's 18. 1 second.
That's a pretty good touch.
No, no. Yeah, touch is 18.
All right. Two of them miss. This one will hit you.
Well, we'll see how this goes, actually, depending on how much damage you take.
As you get hit with a face full of wind here, you will take 7 wind damage, and you make a reflex save, please. Oh, okay. And as you get to there, the goblin you moved up to will bring down his sword on you.
If I see that about to hit, I'm going to use a hero point on something. Unless you have shenanigans.
You would be interrupting him, not if I'm hitting. But he's going to attack. Are you going to do something before I attack?
Is your AC good?
My AC is also 18, so...
Okay. I'll hold off for a second.
Alright. The goblin will bring down the sword and miss Ziren as he comes up. And we'll go to Ziren as he finishes the movement there.
Now
So you
that
can
I'm
do your
here,
own thing.
I'm going to go ahead and do a precise strike on him. Ugh.
That will miss. It has a face full of wind, just blurring your vision.
Alright,
Is that it from Ziren?
that's it.
Ow.
Is it possible to charge here and attack that one, or is that a bit of a weird movement?
You need to stop your charge at the first square you go to attack, so you would stop there. You would stop here, because that's the first square. Well, you stop here, actually. So that'd be the first square you can hit. I know it would be there, because that's going through the corner. So you would
The
have
next
to
thing is,
charge
if I
there.
were to line breath, it would hit that
Mhm.
guy, wouldn't it? It would hit the guy laying down.
If you have the distance, you could be further back. You can do it from here.
I have to be in dragon form to do it.
What is the line on your attack?
60 foot.
Yeah, so
Oh.
you probably get it. Actually, from here,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
can't-
Where you are
just-
would hit him.
I can't do it anyway because I have to be in dragon form to do my breath attack.
fair enough.
That's fine. Do something else instead. Owl is just going to charge to this guy, and was he readying an attack? So I feel like this one said he had a sword.
He was raiding an attack indeed. He will bring down his sword on Owl and miss.
Alright, that's fine. If it misses, and again that changes what I was trying to do, but I will attack him with my axe.
As you charge upon this fella, you will axe him in the sides as you will bring him to the floor.
Nice.
Is that it from Owl?
That is it from me.
Edwin.
I'm going to use a full round triage, so I can use double my speed. So we'll go 30 feet to here, and then 25 to here, so we'll end there. And you will both be healed for 9. That does take 2 uses off, though.
Alright.
Very nice. I forget how good
Interesting.
medics are.
They can be.
It's Guys pretty much blocking the chairs, right?
They are blocking the stairs, yes.
That's fine. Move on here and throw a blizzard at this guy.
Alright.
So I feel it. No, has this guy been hit? Was this that
He
guy?
has.
Yeah, that's the one that got hit by the bolt.
Yeah, right. Pretty sure you guys got that, so yeah, I'm aiming at the guy behind him.
And if he's frozen, his friends can't get past him.
Not with that touch attack, no.
You form a shard of ice in your hand, and as you throw it, it goes straight into the floor in front of you.
You need to complain. You need to use the formula.
This goblin is going to be
One day I'll be useful.
clambering its way around.
It begins.
And let's see if it is going to be falling on its ass. He is able. He jumps atop, climbs atop the shoddy walls and jumps his way down to here. And is going to attack Drazenka.
Yep.
It swipes wide with its short sword and hits its knee on the ice shard on the floor and starts hopping on one foot as it misses. This guy at the back is also going to try and climb. He is able to. As he comes up behind Zirin, he is going to also try and attack with his swords and clang it into the stone wall to his side. This fella is going to attempt to climb up the wall. He is able to, and gets to here and tries to attack Drazenka. And at Drazenka, you'll be stabbed in the side for 2. This one there is going to attempt to climb as well. He succeeds, but he needs to do more movement to get into position. So he's got to go all the way around to there. And the one atop the stairs is going to... Actually, no, get there. It's going to attack Zirin.
I'm going to parry that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, nope, we're not going to.
You attempt to... Huh?
That takes my attack of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. You attempt to parry, but fail as the short sword slides across yours and into you. As Zirin, you'll take 4 damage. And we'll go to Zirin.
Alright, I'm going to attempt to precise strike the same one that just tried to hit me. There we go.
And there it is.
Revenge.
You're attacking the one on the stairs, yeah?
Correct.
As you are stabbed, you return the stab back to him. Do not get the crit, but you do a heavy slash as that guy will fall onto the stairs and
And a 5-foot step down.
tumble down the stairs to here.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm going to 5-foot step instead up to there.
You cannot 5-step up the stairs because they are difficult terrain.
Okay.
This goblin's going to see if he's bleeding out. Alright. Ow.
I feel like this rule's been asked before, but how many free actions can you take in a turn?
As many as you like within reason.
So basically, my reason is I want to drop my weapon as a free action, and then use one of my class features, which gives me 2 claw attacks as a free action.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, cool. And that is what she shall do. She shall drop her weapon and gain her claws, and will claw out at the one next to her.
Is the axe just for show at this point?
Yeah, very much.
It's for the aesthetic. Is that a laugh? Do I get a hero point?
I know I did it earlier, but I didn't get one.
A giggle isn't enough.
What the fuck with the...
You will slash across that goblin twice as he will fall to the floor.
Nice. Then Al will 5 foot here.
Drazenka.
I think you dropped that twin from the list.
Yeah, I had to delete me and pull me back in because my things weren't updating.
How dare you? What was your initiative?
Good question. I think it
20
was 20.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
20.5.
before me.
Yeah, it was right after me, wasn't it?
Edwin.
Yep. I am just looking between the two. I feel like Drazenka's got this. So I'm going to shoot the one that's not blocked. Hey.
You shoot northways, and it pelts off of the goblin's armor.
At which point I will... have to move out. Fuck. I'll reload the crossbow. I'll stay where I am.
Actually, Drazenka?
Swift spells don't provoke, do they?
Swift spells do not provoke unless they have a ranged attack.
This one does not. Yeah, I'm going to cast Saber, which is a swift action.
Nice.
Here's hoping. I'm gonna try to Shatter Strike this couple next to me. Come on, I just want you to work once, please. Nope.
You're getting closer and closer as the goblin ducks down and just barely avoids the blow.
5 foot step down.
This goblin wants to see if he is dying today. This one up top is going to 5 step down and a slash at Ziren.
Very.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
You smash your blade into his and stop him from hitting you.
And he takes damage.
Mm-hmm.
As you return a slash. Don't you need to do another attack roll for landing the attack, though?
Not as far as I know. I'll look it up real quick.
I'm pretty sure it's an attack against his attack roll and then another one to return it. But there's like 3 different parries for different classes.
There's the text.
Yeah, it says as an immediate action, you can then
Yeah,
make
you need to make
attack.
another attack.
Okay, I will change that in there. Let me just roll an attack roll that. Dang it.
That would be
And-
+1. Because your things masterwork, but probably not going
yeah.
to help.
That's true.
Your blade is vibrating too much and you miss the goblin in retaliation. The one down south is going to attack Drazenka. And also miss. The one up top is going to make its way around to here and slash into Ziren. And it will miss. And this goblin is going to see if he's dying today. And then it will go to Zirin.
I'm going to 5-foot step over to my left, and I'm going to make an attack on the one to the south of me.
You've gone quiet.
How is that?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to 5-foot step over to the left, and I'll make a precise strike on the one to my south.
Okay.
God, my rolls have been really low.
Indeedly, as
I
that's
feel ya.
Feather is out. Ow.
And at this one, nicely came over to her. She just slash into this one.
5 for step bigger flanking.
Can I do that before I roll that?
Sure.
17 to hit.
Your claws will hit that goblin twice as they will fall to the floor.
Nice.
Edwin.
Just thinking if I could do anything particularly good there. Can I, if I move adjacent to this one, can I use Aid Another to give Drazenka the +2 to attack?
I don't know who this one is.
Sorry, I didn't get the fucking ruler out. That one, there. So can I...
Yes, you can do a...
You have a rapier, so you could just move
I
in and make
can't.
it ready so I can.
I don't think I can because I've got 0 BAB, so I can't draw the weapon and move at the same time.
Oh, you can just can't attack.
Hmm.
But if you're gonna use raid and give +20, you can either do that or go into a flanking position.
Aiden Over is also a standard action.
Right. Alright, I'll drop the... Yeah, I guess I'll drop it. Can I draw as a standard?
Yes?
Cool. Drop the crossbow, move to there. Well, move to there, draw the rapier. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay. Drazenka?
5 for step up. Try another Shatter Strike now with +2 for the flanking.
Nice.
Hey.
Hey.
You bring down quite
Proceed for the-
a icy slash as that fella will fall to the floor, very frosty. This gobbo is moving up to here and attacking Zirin.
Parry again.
Wow.
Ooh.
God damn.
Well then.
Ooh.
Oh, not 2 20s though. You parry the blow and return it back with a crit as you slash across that fella's face. But he's still up.
Do you not
That
get any
would be
bonus to your
brutal
damage from your
17.
dex?
Not yet.
No, not yet. I don't get that until 3rd level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
Slow burn.
Seeing who is dying today. Alright, it'll go to 0.
Just do the same thing.
Got a
Just
first
do it again.
strike. First strike this guy. Jeez, there's something wrong. They gotta be trying to hit me for me to do anything.
Yeah. Retaliation is all you gotta be. Ow.
She will move on around. I haven't got enough movement to get right around it, annoyingly, without just taking attack opportunity.
Just use Dancing Edge, right?
Yeah, she'll take the attack opportunity.
It's not like you haven't got a little, you haven't got a small health pool. Let's be honest.
No.
The goblin will take it, but sadly they will miss it.
Nice. I didn't make a single claw attack macro, so just take the first claw.
Mm-hmm. Second's going to be a crit. You come around the backside of this fella as they fail to slice you, and they will fall to the floor from your claw.
Nice.
You look like you need some help.
Yeah, not all of us are brutes like you, Al.
Sorry, how many did you take down in that encounter?
3.
I lost count of how many I did. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I lost count. I was gonna go pick up her axe.
Nah, just leave it there. You don't need it.
I do when I run out of a bit. How many times I can use my talons?
As you move over to the man and woman, you'll find that they have been tied up with rope, as well as rope tied around their mouths, as you can hear them trying to shout and moan through it.
So I think I will immediately go towards and start take out the dagger and cut the ropes off.
I knew we brought those daggers along for some reason.
Just for the
Sure did.
mundane stuff.
Are you alright? Are you hurt?
Oh, well, much better now that those creatures are no longer to be sacrificing us to any sort of dragon. Thank you very much, my lady, and sirs.
Oh, it's not a problem.
Are you hurt?
A few nicks
yeah,
here
yeah, a
and
little bit.
there, but much better now.
Not you. I'll see to you in a minute. If they're fine, I'll go over to the goblins and check them while this goes on.
We found your daughter. She's okay. She's waiting back at our carriage. We took care of her before coming to find you.
Thank all the deities in the Pantheon. We're lucky you came along when you did.
We were already on our way up this way, so we're actually on a quest for the local dragon. I don't know what they were doing. That's not what the dragon that we follow would like.
I don't know about any nearby. Actually, we heard tales about a dragon. Are we close? I mean, is that why these goblins are wanting to do something about tribute?
Probably not. The dragon we know doesn't take sacrifice tributes. He protects
Yeah.
these lands.
The local dragon is Karthurrah. They're much nicer than other dragons. They protect this land. You're in their realm.
You just call the dragon Zafura.
Did I don't know. My brain doesn't always do what it's supposed to do.
Zafura's a book and movie.
Karthurrah, dang it. You know what? I was literally thinking about that earlier when you were saying his name out loud, and I'm like, isn't there like a book about that? So, not completely surprising that I screwed that up.
If we're in the realm of their protection, I suppose it would have been a matter of time since it protected us, no?
Where were you today headed?
We're just on a trading business. We're heading southwards along the road. These things kind of jumped us about 10, 20 minutes ago.
if you keep heading further south on the road, you should be safe for the rest of your travels.
We'll make sure to have some pep on our step and get there quite soon. Sadly, we don't have much to give you. A lot of what we have is to trade at the next settlement, but I think those goblins were trying to stuff something under the ground behind this ruins.
Oh no, we do not require anything from you. We were, as my friend said, we were on the road anyway, and we're always happy to help those in need.
It's lovely to meet such kind people on the road. Well, this isn't even the roads, but... Well, thank you nonetheless. If it's not too much issue, could we go back with you to the carriage? I don't particularly want to be going through the forest with these things around.
Of course, we
Sure,
will
sure.
go with
We
you.
gotta get your daughter to you, anyways.
And while the other two are dealing with the goblins, Drasenka will check out the spot where these two said that the goblins had stuffed something.
I'll
You
just
can certainly
keep,
do that.
I'll keep communicating politely with these two.
Just a perception.
Perception, yes. As you look around the rear of the ruins, you'll find a lot of mud and dust having been moved to the side. The goblins didn't do a very good job at hiding what they had taken. Looking across the boxes and sacks, however, there are several markings across them which you could swear to be either initials or family emblems. Nothing too extravagant, but it seems like they've definitely been taking things from several people. You're unsure if these are the first that they were sacrificing to whatever for items, but they have certainly been picking up stuff on the road. Looking into all of them, there are several vials, as well as a crossbow and bolts, and 2 staves of some kind. For all of these things, you would need detect magic and spellcraft to identify them.
How many spellcraft do you want?
It is 3. No, 4, sorry.
I'll give it a shot. I'm not great at it. I'm not great at it.
Not great indeed.
I'll get onto that at some point. Just can't detect magic.
Get your new glasses. Did those
Do you-
goblins take anything from you two already, or?
It seems like they didn't particularly like what we had on trade. I think they just dropped it in the roads. We can go pick up our stuff when we get back to your carriage.
All right.
Are you showing the boxes and bags to the others?
Yep, I am.
Both Edwin and Al will notice that there are markings across the vials in Draconic.
Now read it.
They tell you what they are. As far as you could tell from the initials and emblems, it seems like some of these may have been, as far as you can tell, Draconic merchants. Others aren't, however. They're just mixed in. As there are 3 cure potions, 3 metal VXs, a pirate's drink, a giant's drink, a light crossbow, 10 bolts, a fire power staff, and a water power rod, as well as 89 gil.
That's a good haul.
The metal VX, that's the one that does
Mage armor.
right?
Mage armor, yeah.
That'll be real good for me. What does Pirate's Drink do again?
I think that's charisma.
That would also be good for me.
Yeah. You or Zinka.
Good for my DCs at least.
Yeah, Edwin's just checking out the goblins. And if you can't stabilize any, you will.
As far as I wrote to the chat, they all self-stabilized. However, this fella was 1 hit point away from death. And then he crit his stabilization roll.
Nice.
If you look over what they have, a lot of what they have is tattered, outside of just being small. It's up to you, really, if you want to be taking anything from them.
I don't have any intention of that at the moment. I just wanted to make sure they were alive.
They're alive, but some of them aren't waking up for any time soon.
No, I'm going to wait for this to play out, and then I'll do something about it.
But yeah, as Jaster writes, if you're taking any of that loot, write it in the chat. I also don't think anyone took any of the preparation gear from the Elder, because there were some toughening brews in there, and those act as virtue, giving you 1 temporary hit point.
Yeah. I think that's all in the cart still. We did take it. We just left it in the cart for now.
Haven't divvied it up.
If no one's super interested, Al will take the Giant's Drink.
Go for it.
I would like at least one of the Metal VXs and the Pirate's Drink.
Go for it.
Yep, taking those out. Probably good to at least hold a cure potion. Maybe Drazier and an Owl to hold the cure potion, because Edwin's got... Well, actually, how much is Draz curing wise? I know Edwin's got a good ability to cure.
I only have the channel.
So unless Jack B's got anything else to say, is it worth one of us 3 taking the cure potion each?
For now, yeah, because I don't get anything to increase how effective that is for a while. Eventually I will, but I don't think we're going to get to that point in this campaign anyway.
Yeah, you never know. We might get an extension like we did with the last campaign.
Maybe.
I'm fine with Seiran takes all the metal VXs because I got Mage Armor as a spell.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm wearing armor. Otherwise, I'd say yeah, but it's better for you. Means you can have multiple engagements in a day. Okay. So if we're good to... We're going to take these people back then, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. Before we go, I'll disarm all the goblins, like take all their weapons off them and put them back over here, sort of out of eyesight. And I'll just ask if one of you can stay behind, because I'm going to wake up one of these so they can look after their fellows.
I'll take the 2 Humes to their daughter.
Oh, before you go, and I'll just use surgery on you, where you just... It's a use of triage, effectively, but it's a flat 5. It just takes a little bit longer, so you heal 5 hit points.
That put me at full. I'll go ahead and I'll take them. Does anybody else want to go with me?
I can come
Colleagues.
with you.
All right, Derzinka, let's take a little walk. I think they'd feel more comfortable with two of us. That's all I was asking.
This won't take long.
Of course. And while we're walking, when we're far enough away from the goblins, I will use one charge of the channel.
Nice.
Wow.
I forgot. Oi.
My rolls, man.
It can only get better.
Can they?
It can only get better.
Well, that puts me high enough to heal with the rest.
And yeah, once they're sort of gone far enough, I'll again use surgery, probably on. Although triage technically heals more, doesn't it? Thinking about it, but at this level, yeah. I'll just use a use of triage on probably the one that was worse off, honestly. Ay.
On the one that was worse off, he is still unconscious.
I'll do another one. I'm not trying to burn all these, just want to, There we go.
And with that, they'll awaken very agitatedly as they look around and try to thumb around with their weapon.
It's gone. Look after your friends. And that's it. Everyone's going to walk off if they don't attack us.
Still happened. Wake tribute.
Doesn't really know what they're saying. He's just going to leave.
You'll then look around, see everyone else is unconscious with a lot of blood on the floor. As the party will leave the area.
He can treat deadly wounds eventually.
Going back to your carriage, you'll be able to meet the parents back with their daughter as they have a lovely, dirty, and bloody embrace. I can't say how much we have thanks for what you've done today. Are you heading north or south? It would be lovely to travel with you if possible.
We are heading towards north ourselves, unfortunately, but we came from south. We've been on the road for about... How long have we been on the road?
8 hours.
Most of the day. There was no problems that we encountered before we got here.
Well, I suppose we can just have a few steps together to find our things.
We can do that, and I believe it is about time to set up camp anyway, is it not?
Yes, I was about to ask if you were settling down anytime soon.
We could help you gather your gear and then prepare a campsite and head our ways in the morning.
Sounds like a great plan to us.
If my friends are agreeable to this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, fine. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling with the family for a few minutes, you will find their dropped things as they will recover them. Is the party making their campsite on the side of the road, or are you going into the forest?
Side of the road seems like a good idea. I mean, we're in the area of protection, right?
Yes.
Can't see why we wouldn't.
Yeah, stay close to the road.
Don't get lost that way. We're not in hostile territory. I will keep an eye out for those goblins, though.
All right. The mother and father will set up the camp for you as sort of repayment. And the party can bunk down for the night. What
Fair
order of watches are we having?
I was gonna ask. What's our watch rota?
I'm happy to go whenever.
I can take one of the middle watches because I got dark vision.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna say earlier on for me then.
Zahirin is okay to wake up early. He's used to it. But he does not have any sort of dark vision or low light vision, so morning would probably be better than evening.
I think Edwin will, in hindsight, volunteer to do first, because then he has the longest time to actually, like, sleep. Hopefully.
So from what I'm hearing, it's Edwin, Drazenka, Owl, then Zirin.
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
Yep.
Alright. Is anyone doing anything in the camp before we go through watches and rest?
I will load both light crossbows and have them near me.
Alright.
But no, just generally.
Prayers to Shiva, but that's about it.
I'll just try to keep the family company.
Okay. Edwin, I need you to give me a perception, please.
Eek.
As you take on your watch, you feel a bit of a breeze going through the roadside and plains, but aside from that, nothing else.
Tempted to hero point, but I'm not going to do it. Alright.
The day will pass into the next as you take out your rations as well as 2 feeds.
Mm-hmm. Do we have that kept somewhere? Or we all sort of got looking after our own rations?
I can
was
do
gonna
the
Look after my
rations
own
in
so
the,
far.
I'm looking after my own currently.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
for
I can
now.
do the ones because it's in the group loot, so I'll do the feeds.
Yeah, if you could do the feed, that'd be good. Because I've only got 1 ration on my person, the rest of it's all on the cart. So we'll figure that out as we go.
Yeah, I've got the 1 from the elder still, and then a week's worth in my pack.
Alright. Cool.
As you awake fresh and bushy-tailed to the next morning, or scaly-tailed in some people's design, the family will thank you yet again as they head southwest on the road.
May her please follow your steps.
Continuing on the road yourselves, you head northeastward as you come up to the fork in the road. And gonna need Edwin again to roll me a D100, please.
It's never a 1 or 100. It's always like a middle number.
Okay. As you are coming up to this fork in the road, you'll see on the left side coming towards you a band of 7 men atop horses, which is strange as most people use chocobos. The men all wear red tabards as they have at their sides and backs swords and shields. Their armor seemingly all banded mail. As they see you on the fork in the road, some will raise their hands and shout a hearty hail towards you. Nice to see some friendly faces on the road, especially those that seem to be tradesmen. You the bodyguards of whoever's in this carriage? They say towards the drivers.
No, sir, no tradesmen. We're just traveling a long ways.
Ah, an adventuring party. You don't exactly seem to be a mercenary band if you're having such a fancy little vehicle like that. Whereabouts you heading?
North.
Ah, I guess we won't be having any people along for the ride then. We're heading on southways.
What seems to be the issue in the south?
No real issue. We just got a little contract over in Larkinge. Some people are wanting some particular animal components, so we need to be heading southways to find them.
Fair enough.
Ah, so you got a Greer with you. A bit on the short side.
You'll just see a vein pop on like her forehead. Who you calling
Well-
short?
You,
Well,
madam.
Well, thank you kindly to not insult the party, please.
There's no insult meant by it. It's an observation.
She'll start walking up to. You say it's a guard or a knight?
As far as you can tell, they're mercenaries.
Okay. She'll start walking up to the mercenary. I dare you to say short one more time.
My apologies, miss, if it offended. I was making an observation.
Keep your observations to yourself.
Alright. Don't get your tail in a twist.
She'll just sort of look at Edwin and say, "Was that better?"
Remarkably.
Come on, Al. No point making extra trouble.
She'll like walk back to the car and clamber back in the back.
Apologies for our firecracker. I know you didn't mean disrespect, simply the way that she is.
Well, I can certainly see why she got the vehicle treatment and not at the front. We won't keep you. Hopefully you'll have some safe travels on the road northways. I hear this area is kind of protected, and you're leaving that, right?
Yes, we're heading up to the northern fort, Fort Mock.
That's quite the travel you've got ahead of yourselves. I wish you luck on that, especially if you're heading through the riversides.
What's wrong with the riversides?
Heard about some talk in the taverns and whatnot over in Larkinge. They've had some Naga issues. Might even be what we're getting our components for. Meant to be doing some potion making. Didn't really ask too much about it because I can't exactly keep track of everything going on. But rivers aren't been so kind lately.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you for the information. And like you said, this area is under the protection of powerful creatures, so please behave yourselves.
Don't you worry. We ain't bandits. We get paid enough to be killing monsters. We don't need to go after people. Well, safe travels to you all.
You as well.
You too.
The mercenaries atop horses will snap their reins as they all move on southways past you.
Better be careful of bodies of water. keep going.
Yeah. Which way should we go? Is there a difference in how long it's gonna take us either way?
I don't think so. I suggest we go left. At least that way, if we do run into some trouble, we're between two settlements rather than far other away from any of them.
I think the right path is a little flatter.
Possibly. It's up to you. You have the reins.
What? When did I get the reins?
You've had the reins for quite some time.
Oh, okay. I better pay a little bit more attention.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any suggestions?
Al will like bang on the wall of the car and just say, "Are we moving or what?"
Yes, everything all right up there?
Just make a decision which way to go. Do you guys have any ideas?
Well, we are headed for Lunaris, are we not?
Whichever way's
Yeah, but-
faster.
The path goes left or right. I don't know which one's faster.
Right. Edwin pulls the cross out of his pocket and flips it. We're going
One
right.
for left, two for right. There you go.
All right, we'll take off to the right, and I'll flick the reins that are apparently in my hands.
You flick the reins as the chocobos let out a sound. And you take the right path.
Hopefully, right isn't correct.
The right may be right, you're right. And as you take the right path, it continues on into the evening. It comes up to the point where you would normally be settling down for said night, but it's up to you if you wish to be pushing the chocobos for another 2.5 hours to just get into Lunaris, or if you want to take it slow and steady and camp for the night.
We're in no special rush. I suggest we rest.
I concur.
All right.
No, I don't mind camping.
Alright. The party hitches up to the side of the road to set up camp for the night. And as you do so, we shall end the session here.
Thanks for the session.